welcome back to the show. I'm your nerdy host, Annie.
And I'm your host, co-host Tommy, Sperg Snake.
Thank you for joining me and coming back to the show. I appreciate it. Whether you're a filthy casual, a hardened pro, or just a mobile gamer, we encourage you to join us as we rant, rave, and ramble about games that we like and sometimes games that we don't like. But as always, we are here to ask the question, what's this game?
The Outer World.
It's by Obsidian Entertainment. It came out October 25th, 2019. We actually covered this 2 episodes ago on the main show. We did kind of a back-to-back on that day, or at least I did. I did Dead Space in the evening, and I did Outer Worlds in the morning with Sperg Snake here. And it's a big, long RPG. It's shorter than you realize looking back, because it only has like a couple of big set pieces, but it's with all the traveling back and forth, especially if you don't use fast travel, and with the amount of side quests, the gameplay can get really long. And I checked my Epic Games hours, because that's where I have this version of the game. I played it initially back years ago on the Xbox, but on this version, I checked and I had about 186 hours logged into my my Outer Worlds. And I'm like, I don't know if that counts my AFK hours. It probably does, but honestly, I'm not shocked that it took me that long, because I was playing this day in, day out. One of my streams covering the DLC that we're going to be focusing on for this bonus episode, that stream was almost 11 hours. So I was basically on all day. I did take a couple breaks. Like, I think one of the breaks was like 20 minutes. I, went to the bathroom, I smoked, I ate some food, and hung out with the cats, and then I came back and I was like, I don't feel like ending it, so I'm gonna just hop back on, and I just went for another couple of hours. So if you have the time, this game is really easy to just suck you in, because you're just like, one more quest, one more quest, one more quest, it's fine.
Right, you constantly are, uno mas. Like you said, the side quests are very engaging. The storyline is very engaging, and it holds your attention. And yeah, you want to get to that perfect spot where you save and you're ready to go. It does not count if you hit escape and you're in that menu where it says load game. I don't think it counts that time, but there have been times I just got up and went to go use the restroom and come back and let the cinematic cam run. It counts. I'm going by the save game counter. It was 4 days and 20-something hours on the first character. I got it to level 47. I pushed real hard. I was trying to get to 48. And
I think that's where I ended 70. It. Before the point of no return on the last mission to Tartarus, I got my character, I think, to 46. That's where the save is. And then killing on Tartarus, I got enough XP to get to, I think, 48. Because I was already 247, and then killing a lot of people on there. And the final quest, I think, gave me just enough experience, but you can't do anything with it because the game's over.
Right. And I wish there was like a new game plus kind of thing, or like a
Sperg said load game. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm glad you stopped by. It was short. The main campaign did feel a little short, but both DLCs more than make up for that little, and it's not that short. It's like 30 hours or so. It just seems that way because like you sit there and it goes quickly. You're running from here to Monarch, back to the Groundbreaker, over to Terra 2, and you do want to stay in that story. 11 hours can go by very quick.
So, we didn't mention it in the main episode, but the fast travel sort of menu, the, like, astronautical menu, you go to a computer in your starship, and you walk up to a console, and it's both futuristic and very simple at the same time. It's like a clockwork board game on, like, dial board right in front of you, as well as a computer, and then you just kind of, like, drag your ship to one place to the other, and then Ada will just do the rest, and your ship will just fly to the other side. And I think it's kind of cool, because when you're in the menu, you can see the little board with all the cogs and the planets being held up, and I think it is neat, but I also think it would have been cool to have like an actual fast travel menu instead of just watching a PNG of a ship fly from one end of the star system to the other one. I do like that the load screen is only as long as it takes you to get there, plus the load screen of leaving the ship. Like, from traveling to planet only does take a couple of seconds, which is nice. I just wish it was fancier.
I get you. Fun fact: those little planet things that are gears and they rotate around, those are called an Ori. Orry. Orrey. Oh, I'm a terrible speller. But
Ooh.
I enjoyed that. That's when I saw that I was like, oh, this is great. And it's like you said, it's kind of futuristic and simple. Like being called a ship captain in the year that this game takes place, 2335, I think.
I'm
It's
not
very
sure what year it
loose.
takes place in. Good question.
I'm pretty sure I know it's 23 something. I want to say 35, but I'm
Yeah, it's just
but yeah,
captain
you
in
know,
the term that you are a person who owns a boat, a space boat.
and that's what I kept calling it too. I was like, "Oh, where's my boat?" you know. Um,
The unreliable.
I thought that was
I
funny.
actually really like it. It's kind of a hefty beast. Like whenever you see it land places, it is a big ship, and then you get into it, and then you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense because it's like 2.5 stories.
Yeah, that's. I wish I would have captured that screenshot because there's some of the landing pads when you're at ground level and you're looking up and you see your ship sitting there. You're like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty damn cool, man." Pardon me. It feels. You start to feel like you got a crew and you are a captain. Just you don't stand there steering the ship all day. You got a crew to run. And
Yeah,
you just
you don't
got
even.
caught out
Yeah,
and
you
trying
don't
to
even steer your ship. You say, "Navigator, take me here," and Navigator says, "Beep boop 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 boop." Okay.
Yeah, that which is fine by me because I'd probably be a terrible ship captain if I had to drive anything that was in the air. A
In the
boat
one
or
opportunity
car,
when I was given
okay.
the opportunity to pilot another ship in the game, my first instinct was, oh, I'll just crash it into Terra 2 and blow up Terra 2. No big deal. Whenever you get to the Hope mission, you have the option to skip
Right.
it to Tartarus. You can skip it to the rings of Terra 2 right outside Phineas's lab, or, go into the sun. But I was like, can I go to Terra 2 and then deliberately get the calculations wrong and then just slam the ship into the side of
Right.
Terra 2 and blow it up? Can I kill Edgewater and Byzantium in one button press?
Wow. Yeah, that ruins the whole colony. I
I,
also
I was I was
I
trying to, but it didn't give me that option. It didn't say, okay, you can
oh
you can go hand or you can go body by body and execute everyone in the colony, but we're not going to allow you to hit a genocide
no
button.
right no mass genocide. I see.
Ah, dang.
Um,
Okay, fair.
yeah. There should have
Except for
been
the
an
mission
option like you
Akande
said.
gives you. There's a mission that she gives you
That's right.
in Edgewater. She wants you to get a shipment of
Eliminate.
mechanicals that gets shipped to Edgewater. She wants you to go to the thermal plant and reprogram all of them to set to kill mode. So she wants you to second party genocide all of Edgewater. She's like, go to the thing and turn on the genocide machine. It's like, okay. In
Right.
my actual genocide route years ago, I did just go there and I was like, oop, okay, Edgewater's dead, no big deal. But on this playthrough, because I had already skipped to Terra 2, or skipped the Hope to Terra 2, Akande was like, okay, we're gonna send the robots there, and you go there to do the kill mission. And then the mission instantly put to fail because I couldn't do that, because like she still gave me the task to go ship the automechanicals there and do that, but then she was like, wait, hold on, never mind, you're the one who did the Hope, fuck you. And then later on I shot her in the head.
She
Dylan
drops
says
a
that
decent
he
weapon.
supports genocide.
I do, but usually it doesn't involve living people. It's pre-people. That's kind of gross. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, no, where I'm at, where my current save is on my second playthrough, I can sell out Phineas to Akande, and then it's her first mission. I think it's sending me to Edgewater to
See, okay,
reprogram
let's
some
get
robots.
let's get into that quest since you do have it. Okay. Her justification is that Edgewater has become a sort of cancer on the rest of the board, and they're just slowly suffocating, and they're slowly just leeching resources from the board and just bleeding out slowly, and they're just basically an open wound. And let's just cauterize it and just get it over with. And I said, okay, sure. But why don't we just instead just not send them any supplies? Then they can either figure it out and become a productive society, and then maybe you can invite them back to the board, a la MSI Monarch, or you can stop sending them the supplies and they'll die, and then you'll have your job anyway, and you'll have bonus supplies, and you won't have to risk me or auto mechanicals plus whatever shipping it's gonna cost you. You can literally just be like, Edgewater is now removed. It is no longer a board town. Complete cutoff. If you do business with them, you are now in bad reputation with the board. They are a no-go zone. They're forbidden zone. Okay, well, people might not agree with it, and then they can be like, lawbreakers. But like I said, MSI survived until I came in there and killed them, but they survived for a pretty long time. I mean, they have a semi-thriving society and multiple camps of it.
Yes. Because not just MSI was surviving out there, the Iconoclasts were surviving out there, and
Devil's Peak, he was okay. I mean,
yes,
that
guy.
he was fine, and
There
as well
was
as the
other
Marauders.
mercenaries.
Like, the Marauders are shitty people, and they're just like brainless zombies at this point. But they are still people. They still have to eat, live. They're not bulletproof. They're not Manticore proof. They still have to fight those things or run from them. So they are still also living out there. That one girl who ran away from her Edgewater town, or her the on Terratu in Emerald Vale. She ran away from the botanical place. Yeah, and she started living with Marauders, and she's not crazy, but they're like, okay, well, I mean, you're kind of hot, so like, I mean, chill with us, I guess.
What's weird. There's some instances, like you were saying, there's definitely instances of Marauders dying to Raptidons or Mantis or Primals or whatever's out there.
Mhm.
Other mechanicals and things like that. But as you play the game, you find out that Marauders, they were former workers in a lot of cases. And the question is, how far are they? What's in between? Where you're just a junkie on Adrenatime and turning into a mad Marauder.
Yeah, Paragon Gorgon did really bring that up, and I'm glad you focused on it, because in Paragon Gorgon, when it's revealed to you that like Adrenatime is kind of the cause of all of the Marauders in the colony, one of your options is, but I've done Adrenatime. And it's like, yeah, okay, so like, exactly, like how many Adrenatimes do you have to do? Is it like, I'm trying to compare it to another drug that's like, some people can do it over and over and over, and then some people do it once, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, and being thought out, you already have some weirdo bullet time, the time dilation, and you can get addicted to drugs, but everything that's happening, between Gorgon and Monarch, there's people surviving in terrible spots, and Akande just wants to cut off the dead weight and try to, recoup anything she can to help the colony survive.
Right, but you don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Like, you don't. Yeah. Like, you can... You like I said, especially with the situation on Edgewater. Like, if you have already made sure Edgewater's fine, you didn't steal their power regulator, you did the best ending, and you got Adelaide to go back there, and now she's taken over, and everything's going great for them. And then she's like, "Hey, go kill them because they're taking our supplies. Stop giving them supplies, you idiot."
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. And
yeah, and it's one of the few places that I felt like you didn't really have a choice, because it's either don't execute them and work against her, or just go ahead and kill them all. Which, I get that's what she wants me to do, but why is there no dialogue option for a third, like a peaceful resolution?
In most cases, there always is too. It's not
Why
just
can't I go
black
in there and
white.
kill Adelaide and put in a new representative from the board that'll be like a more tyrant and he'll get things done and he'll replace people with auto mechanicals that don't get the work done? Like, why not? I don't get Sophia, and that's why in this last playthrough I was like, I'm just gonna have to kill you. I don't like you, and I don't like your attitude.
Yeah, she's a very unlikable person. And she's voiced by Debbie Wilson, who is one of the, or is, let me put it this way, she started on Mad TV and was one of the few people left that finished it. She was on that show the whole time. And wildly hilarious. And I didn't realize it was her and until I did, and then I was like, wow, she's a very serious character and such a mean person. Yeah, there's two things you can do. You can ignore her for the most part and negotiate with her later. You know, get her to step down, much like in the very first mission. Sorry, spoilers. But you have to have a high persuade.
This is the bonus episode. If you're coming here and not getting it spoiled, then go back and watch the main episode. And if you're worried about spoilers, just go play the game. But I appreciate you warning them.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's worth, because like, there's a limited way to deal with certain characters, and Akande's one of them. You either do what she says, or fight her, like as the protagonist. You know, there's no, and if you let her live and negotiate her away or get her to step down, she does still kind of help in her own way.
And I think that's
if
probably
you kill her flat out, right? You know, then that's it. That's it. It's you working towards the end.
we won't speculate on it too much because it's still not even really being worked on because they have another game coming out before it. But The Outer Worlds 2, I would be really curious to see, A, what is the canon ending, or if B, there isn't really a canon ending because it'll be a far enough time skip that it can just be like, oh, whatever happened from the hero from the first game doesn't matter because the colony's gone. I don't know. I really hope it's like BioWare's thing where you can just grab your character save, because there is no New Game Plus in The Outer Worlds, which is a big shame. It should have a New Game Plus. You should be able to take that character save and plug it into your new game, and you know that character's obviously dead because the narration at the end of The Outer Worlds implies that the guy narrating it is narrating it far after the fact, because he says that Phineas is gone, these characters are gone, this happened, that already happened, all this already happened. The captain went off and did this. Like, it's implied that this is a story being told maybe from somebody in the second game or in a interim period. But the big thing is, I really hope all of those choices go and affect the second game, because this is a very heavily choice-driven game. Even if the choices end up being binary, almost everything in the game comes down to making a choice.
Right, and I like a lot of people get upset because it's like end card endings, but I like that because it does.
I do too.
You get your choose your own adventure feeling from that. Okay, this is what you did and how it reflects. They can't animate that and make it a, you know, oh, here's a big cinematic ending like Mass Effect or something. I am very curious to find out. Like, I agree what you say, because they say, well, what happened to you? And then, of course, what happens to Phineas and whether or not you let that one scientist live, they all affect the positive future if you had that playthrough.
I really hope Ellie's in the second game, because they say that she, you know, goes off and she gets her own crew and she becomes her own ship captain. It'd be really cool if you meet her in the second game, and even if you can't make her as a companion, meet her as somebody that the new player character looks up to and be like, hey, you were a veteran from whenever the board fell.
Right. I would see Ellie in probably how that one lady was with Sublight, how she was just like behind the big desk running things.
Oh,
certain
Lilia
point,
Hagen.
you know. Yes, that's where I would see Ellie like in her far future. You know, she's like, oh, I'm done with looting and shooting. I'm just gonna run the thug company now, and you know, basically space pirates for hire. It's great.
Be the new
Oh, and
Sublight Prime.
right. And other characters too in their endings, they go off and do their own thing. Vic is at peace if you went that route.
My
Felix
ending
is
for
a
Vicar Max is just kind of meh. He's like, and Vicar Max just thought that maybe his life had no purpose. Then he's like, well, probably not. And then that was
okay. Is that
he
what
basically
happened?
got like 2 sentences, and I was like, oh man, that's probably because I killed the guy that was supposed to like finish his quest. He's in Fallbrook, and Vicar Max needs you to track down the guy who let him on all this goose chase. And I just come around the corner, and as soon as I see him, I just and just gun him down. And he's like, "You stole my kill!" And I'm like, "Oh, you wanted to do?" I'm sorry. You've worked with me long enough to know that I jumped a gun literally all the time.
Yeah, it's great. Because you can do that. Like you get companion side quests, and you can end them early. But speaking of like back to Ellie, like you could just kill her parents, and she'll get mad at you for it. You know what? Well, I didn't want
Yeah.
that. You know, it's like, well, I thought you said you wanted me to act up. We've already been together for how long?
I
So
think
I do enjoy
I
some
haven't
rounds.
tried it, but I would like to go in there and shoot her parents a couple of times without killing them, and then leave, and then be like, "Hey, I roughed them up for you. They will never fuck with you again."
Right, no kidding. Especially when you find
Your
out
mom
what they
can't
were
walk,
doing
and
and
your
how
dad has no face anymore. But hey, they're alive.
they're not going to need those marble floors like they were planning on getting. And the one thing I did find a little disappointing, and I kind of understand, is there was very few, like you just go and get Sam his like parts, and that was it. He just walks around cleaning the ship after that. I was
Kind
hoping
of
there
makes
would be
sense, but I
something
wish,
like
even if he doesn't talk to you, there
something
should have been
silly.
more stuff in Hawthorne's terminals, or somewhere in the world there should have been more information about Sam and why Sam is a special unit, because he's not just a cleaning unit, he's a cleaning unit with attitude.
Yes, and yeah, he's definitely happy to do cleaning outside of the ship. It's funny. And I like that they gave him corrosion because it's that yellow green color, and it just looks like he's spraying them down.
He's just
And
got the green Mr.
they all
Clean.
scream. Yes, it's so great. Which also makes me think of the other thing that I really did enjoy about this game is you can steal these weird items that just appear in crew quarters, like your captain's quarters and the crew quarters, like posters and
Oh yeah,
baseball card.
I
A lot of
really like how much just like subtle collectibles are, because there's not like there's an achievement for it. It's not like you get anything. There's not like a secret unlockable armor or anything like that. But it is a sense of pride to be like, I've collected every single type of food. I have every single unique armor. I have all the toss bell cards. I have all
That was
flavors
my
of
second
Rizzo.
That's my second playthrough. I got all the vodkas and I'm collecting. I want to see who's the rarest tossball card. I already know what the rarest vodka is. I think it's indigo.
I think
There's
so.
only
I
like
think there's only
3 or
2
4
that
bottles.
I think
Is
there's
it
like
2?
yeah, like I've only seen 2. I've only seen 2 that like are laying on the floor. There's the first one that it navigates you to, and then there's one somewhere else. But I think
Yeah.
I think it's a rare spawn in shops because they don't want you to be soft locked out of that quest.
Okay. That's why I was doing that in this playthrough. I wanted to see how many I can get. I thought Slug Lady had one, but when I tried to go back, it wasn't there. And
We're kind of
I
talking about it
sold
now.
one.
So, do you want to get into the murder on Eridanos, or do you want to talk anything about Peril on Gorgon first?
We kind of touched on Gorgon. We went over it. There's Millie Ambrose, the daughter, is trying to clear her family name because she was from Byzantium. And once your business fails, your name fails, it's that tight of a relationship. And her mother was the project leader on Gorgon, and like we mentioned, you find out that Spacer's Choice was developing Adrenatine, and this DLC, yeah, it should be played before Murder on Eridanos, because you find out a lot about how some of these corporations run. Turns
Yeah,
out Rizzo's isn't the worst.
Yeah, right. Surprisingly, yeah. Like, some of the corporations are a lot worse. You would think that Spacer's Choice would just kind of be like, we're going to scrape together budget equipment. We're kind of like a salvage refurb kind of organization. No, Paraline Gorgon shows you that, yeah, they are that, but they're also a huge R&D company because they want to also be in the pharmaceutical game, which they successfully got into, even though their product was a widespread failure. I think Adrenatime, like, the ending of the DLC, you are given the option of siding with the daughter and restarting the Adrenatime, or siding with the mother and being like, no, we have to lock all this down and it's over. Or you can get, obviously, like, the good ending, where you convince them to work together and first fix Adrenatime so there will be no more Marauders, and then see if you can find a cure for the Marauders.
For the current Marauders, right? Yeah, that.
Yeah, first stop them. Stop the leak. Stop the leak, and then see if we can put the water back out of the boat.
Right, and the thing is all these corporations are so good at suppressing a lot of information. Nobody knows what's causing Marauders. They just know where people are. Marauders show up.
You just made me think about it. Something that's like Halcyon, the system that you're in this game. There's food companies, there's shipping companies, there's all sorts of packing and whatever, like just all sorts of companies that you would think of. I've lost my train of thought there. Dang.
It's easy to do. Different corporations, and we were talking about their research and development.
I'm sure it'll come back to me.
CMP knows their CMPs.
I just find the companies, they don't cover like a lot of different things. A lot of the companies are kind of just vague in what they do, and I figured out where my train of thought was going. Something that isn't one of these like big like professions or something is news and journalism. The only like broadcast and stuff that comes from anywhere seems to be from the board, and it is a very curated thing, as you find in on Tartarus. They've got like a whole sound stage for it. They've got green screen. They've got like script writers. They've got all this stuff to be as spick and span and edit it nice so it can go out to the public, and we'll make them want to be signed up and put into the fridge in outer space.
Yes, exactly, and that's towards the finale.
But there's no journalism. There's no people going around being like, the board is fucked up, guys. There's nobody running around spreading that information, except for Phineas, I guess, and he's not even really spreading it. He's just like, okay, well, telling people's not going to do anything. I need to fix it.
And the Iconoclasts are the only ones that are even trying to spread any information. They find an old print shop that was run down, and they were trying to, sneak in their propaganda. Because that's basically all there is. There is no media. There's, it's advertising.
There's like radio aetherwave dramas. And the biggest one is just a serial, which is covered in the next DLC. The biggest serial in all of Halcyon is The Adventures of Halcyon Helen, who's a sort of detective, kind of a Jane of all trades. She can do it all. She's real smart. She's slick. She's good looking. And she's a deadly shot. So she takes on cases and, solves murders and saves people. She just does it all. She's just like a comic book hero. And there are... The Aetherwave is a little blank on what it is. It seems like it's a little combination of print media and radio.
Right. I was going to say it's like radio and television, but the television's basically still frames. like, so you get.
And I don't know if that's a limitation of the game or if that's just how it is shipped to you. Because I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I did enjoy watching that with Ada when you first get invited to go do all of this. That's what starts it. She's
and I think that's cool introduction. She mentions to you just in passing after you complete a quest in the main storyline, which has to do with the radio broadcasting on Monarch. She mentions to you, hey, I picked up a cool Aetherwave drama, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to check it out? And then you can either pick it up right then. If you're not ready for it, then you should wait and come back till you're probably level 30. And then come back and watch it with her, in which case you'll get an invitation to be the inspector on the case, because it turns out that Halcyon Helen has been murdered, which is henceforth the murder on Eridanos. You're invited to Eridanos, which is a gas planet, so you can't actually land on the planet, but the enterprising people of it dug up some of the core of the planet, like the rocky bits of it, and shipped in other parts from like Terra to, and just rich people shit. And then they chained it all together and attached it to jet engines, and then put it in a perpetual orbit just outside of I don't know, I guess in the breathable part of the Eridanos atmosphere, because some of it's breathable. But yeah, you're just basically in this floating cloud city, just falling around the planet constantly. And honestly, it is gorgeous. It is a fantastic set piece. You land and you get off your ship, and the first thing you see is the top of the hotel, because you're on a very tall, like, landing spire. You're like on a helipad, but you're on the top of a building. I assume it's probably for storage and office space for work. I don't know, whatever. You don't actually get to go in that building. You just land on top of it, and then you take an elevator down. You're immediately greeted by a bellhop who lets you know, hey, you're the inspector, and these few areas are kind of locked off at the moment because we want to make sure that the murderer doesn't get out of here. And also the penthouse is locked down because, well, we want to make sure it's clean and ready for you because it's going to be your room, as well as we're going to make sure we preserve the evidence. So, it'll be a little twofer for you. It'll be the crime scene, and it'll also be your penthouse. Sound good? What did you think of that presentation where it's like you get into the penthouse and you just see her shit is all over the bed and you have to go to like a little corner of the bed to sleep on?
Yeah, they basically say that to you as well. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry about the mess. We didn't get everything out, but the crime scene is preserved." And the elevator inside the hotel is great. There's like an old school elevator operator via the telecom, and wants to. She's like super enthusiastic.
Again, another thing that's old and new, because she's far away from you in her own little like terminal, like in her own like bulletproof glass booth that she has to go through with her own employee access, and she's kind of like tucked away from everything. But you can't access the elevators yourself. You have to go to the little thing, go over the intercom, and she'll handle going which floors and making sure you have the right authorization. So it's like you said, having a literal elevator operator, except it's a computer woman, except it's not. It's a person in another room. So it's old and new. I really love the theming of the technology in this universe.
Yeah, online it gets it's like Fallout in space, and it's not really Fallout in space.
No, that's just the hook to get people into it. That's to get like people like kind of like an idea of what, like, oh, okay, so that's kind of what it'll be like. It'll be like a talking RPG and some shooting, a little exploring. Oh, and a lot of choices, looting. Okay, right. Cool. But after that, you're right. It's not Fallout at all. It's very different.
Yeah, it's some of the themes are still similar, where like there's powers that be that get to pull strings of the little guy like me and you, especially here, because you're thawed out. You're literally, well, I guess I gotta help somebody. I gotta do something, because
you're 70 years out of time. You.
Right, and
with who knows how much memory loss, because your character never really talks about who they are or where they're from or anything like that. So it could be assumed that you don't have a past and maybe you just lost all your memories, or it can just be that it's, like I said in the main episode, it's you. You are this person. So whatever your backstory is, just imagine that tomorrow you hopped on a colony ship to the new colony, and that's where oops, it went wrong, and now you're 70 years later in the future, it's you, but now you're in the colony.
And one of my biggest, I love this in the character creation, because you get that extra point, and it was like, oh, you pick what was your profession, and one of them was sous chef, which I really liked. One of there's teacher, there's like a mechanic, like you were a regular old engineer. This one I picked science because I like specking into science weapons, which I think we're going to get into a little bit more here, especially as we talk about the murder on Eridanos. Some of the best.
Both of the DLCs have a couple of new science weapons, so yeah, it's good to cover those.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the science weapons. A lot of people I've seen on feedback, oh, they're kind of weird and goofy. Once you get them to a certain level, they're just the shrink ray I have at level 40. It's very effective. I didn't think it would be so effective, but it's also quite funny.
The shrink ray is good because it's a lock-on weapon, so once you like have it fired up, you can just kind of keep pointing it at them.
And there's the other one that I thought was hilarious was the molecular like rearranger. It's
it's basically a status stick.
And it shrinks their arm, or it'll shrink their head.
That one.
Like yeah. Yeah, I think those are fun. Just like they're playing with pixels there, it's a big head mode. Who cares? It just makes it a little more. You just laugh.
I think let me pull it up since I have the ability to do that. I think I have all the science weapons here in the game here. Let me just open my inventory. The two weapons that came with Peril on Gorgon were the PET, which is a two-handed sort of axe weapon. Pretty cool. Yes. When you actually hold it, these little like candle things emit like laser blades. And the special ability of it is whenever you charge attacks for it, you'll like magneto pull enemies towards you, and then you can just slice them easier. It's a pretty cool weapon, so it'll force the enemies to close the gap to you instead of you closing the gap to them, which is good for a two-handed melee weapon. And then the next one is probably one of my favorite weapons in the whole game. It's called the Special Delivery. It was initially like a t-shirt cannon / mail tube delivery system where you would just load in mail tubes and put whatever you need inside of there, and then you just thunk 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 and shoot them with high velocity. And if you were in low G, then you could just use that to shoot it even further. If you were out in space, theoretically, you could build a bigger one to just shoot it all the way to another planet. So it's a prototype mail delivery system that some guy was like, I'm just gonna put grenades in this, and he just put grenades and a homing system in it, and now it's just a missile launcher that locks onto enemies. It's really simple in the function of it, but there's no other gun in the entire game that's like this. There is no other explosive launcher. It is the straight up only like rocket launcher, and it shoots multiple at a time because you can like charge it up to unleash the whole magazine at them. I think you can shoot like 6 rockets at once. It is a beast of a weapon, honestly.
I've been playing with that one most recently. I was like, oh wow, I've been missing out on this thing. Yeah, and with both of the weapons on Gorgon, the PET is a hard one to get. I don't want to say hard, it's just there's a lot of questing involved in getting that, and it has to do with a bunch of nerds and their favorite, again, Aetherwave Serial, where they have this secret club, and they built that weapon. The PET is from, it's like if you built Han Solo's blaster and it really worked.
Right, it's a bunch of fans that were like, oh, we're going to make a replica of our favorite superhero's weapon. And then they're like, yeah, but what if it worked?
Exactly. It's very functional. And yeah, it's. I remember just swinging it around. I didn't know about the magnetic part. That's pretty cool.
Rochi says, who am I? Back when we were talking about coming out of the cryostasis thing. And he just asked, the real question is, should I buy this game on the Switch? I'm going to say if you have something else to buy it on, no, you should buy it on that. if the only thing you can buy it on is the Switch, yeah, give it a shot. It's a good game, even if you don't get the Spacer's Choice Edition, even if you don't have a beefy console to run it, even if you don't have a computer. Yes, you should get the Outer Worlds. It's really fun, and it's a game that you can play for a couple hours at a time. No big deal. You can play 20 minutes, just run to a thing, kill a couple of bandits, be like, all right, well, I'm done. It's a really easy game to get lost in, and also just be like, all right, well, I'm done with this. Just quick save and just close it. So if you're interested in the game, Rochi, yes, you should pick it up. Back to the topic on hand, the last science weapon from the Peril on Gorgon is the employee benefits from Auntie Cleo. Honestly, bad weapon. It's the only gun in the game that's not a gun. It's basically Mercy from Overwatch's little heal beam. You just aim it at your enemies, or I'm sorry, you aim it at your allies, and you just shoot them. I think the only use that this would have is on Supernova, and the problem is you get it so late into the game that by then, if you're not cheating and making so your companions don't instant die, then it's too late into the game that they're probably beefy enough to actually fight in combat on their own, and you probably have them spec'd with good guns. So the employee benefits is a cool idea for a gun in the game, but it's completely worthless in I think any build that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know who to give that to. Maybe Ellie, but I don't think.
But then what if she tries to shoot enemies? Yeah.
That's what the problem is. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, it's not smart enough. Like, she would stand around keeping us alive. She'd just keep everybody else alive. Yeah, that's very much probably the most useless one. Special delivery is great. Like you said, it has that great charge up. And the guns in this game feel good to shoot. You feel that boom, 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 boom. And then a second later it goes boom, 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 boom. You know, it's like, it's a really enjoyable gun to shoot.
I really like the weapon variety. I don't have every weapon here, and I don't even have every unique weapon. But as you can see, the only regular weapon I have in my entire arsenal is just a regular Deadeye sniper rifle. There are so many unique weapons that, there are both, okay, I'm going to say there are legendary weapons, and then there are unique weapons. Legendary weapons are just really, really good versions of a gun that have a good mod set for them that you can't change. They're just a really good, solid version of it. And I think a good one is, like, I think it's called, like, Rolling Thunder or whatever. It's basically just a regular TNL assault rifle, except it has shock damage and does a little bit more crit. So all that is just the shock magazine with the crit barrel. It's not really unique. It doesn't do anything special. So that's why I would classify it as a legendary weapon. The big difference is you also can't mod it. You can't change which parts are on it. So it is still, like, preset. And then you have, like, straight up unique weapons, like Adelaide's Gardening. It's a unique weapon that you can only get by making sure Adelaide dies in the playthrough, and it is a improvised weapon, so typically it'd be worthless, but the thing that it does have a unique buff on it, because you can't actually mod, garden shears, so it has a mod built into it that critical hits deal additional damage, plus they cause bleeding. So this weapon is really good if you build for critical, and you can just slice, 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 and then switch to another weapon, and if that enemy is not already dead from the base damage, they're going to die from the bleeding on the crits you dealt. It's also got a unique model in the fact that it's covered in blood, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think there are some weapons you can only obtain by killing people. Like we mentioned on Peril and Gorgon, when you finish, there's 3 different ways you can end it, and if you pick the good, peaceful ending, you get no weapon, just a bunch of bits and experience, because you don't get Olivia or Millie's gun. Both of them have unique weapons to them that you can only get by killing them. You can get them in the same room and kill them both and get both guns, but I think that's going to ruin your ending.
Yes. These are their 2 guns. You get the Burnout, which is a plasma carbine. And the special ability on it is when you do the charge shot for it, instead of shooting 1 charge shot, it shoots 3 charge shots. So it's pretty cool if you're building for a plasma burst weapon. And then the other one from the other person is called the Equilibrium, which is it has a standard mod on it that just gives it a bigger magazine size, and then the unique perk on it is it gets accurate the more longer it's fired. So it will fire at normal speed. It doesn't have like a wind up though, but the more bullets you use, which I believe its magazine size is, I don't see it. Where is it? Right there. 45.
Nope.
45 is a pretty decent magazine. So the last 15 bullets are probably going to be pretty accurate on that thing. You could probably hip fire them if you wanted to. But I would say neither of these weapons are particularly amazing. So if you're not looking to just complete, or if you're not looking to do a genocide route, or if you're not looking to just complete your collection, then there's no point in killing either of them because their weapon sucks.
And real quick, speaking of the Adelaide shears, my brain started ticking because I know there's Dr. Scrubs that add 30% to bleed. It's either the scrubs or the mask. One adds bleed and the other one adds burn.
Yeah,
So,
those are really cool. I really like the armoring system. After I beat the game initially and then went back and started Peril on Gorgon, I decided that I wanted to expand or respec my character to be a virtuoso in science because I was using primarily all science weapons, and I wanted to be a virtuoso in lockpicking. So there's no door I can't open, and there's no problem I can't solve, I guess, with force or science. The rest of my perks were spent like evenly across the board, and there were I think my lowest one at all times is probably hack, because there isn't any like thing that indicates it on screen, but there are certain like tiers to terminals and doors. You have like tier 1, which is like you need 5 lockpick. Then you have tier 2, which is like, oh, you need 10. Then you have tier 3, which is like 15. Then it goes, I would say like, I don't know what tier it is, but the tier that you are probably in the DLC, most hacking terminals cost 65 or 95 hack. So if you don't have that much hack, you're not getting into a lot of hackable terminals because 65 is the number you need. The lower end is 55, but even then, if you don't have 55, you can't get in there. So I took your advice and I started just hoarding outfits. I just started hoarding as many clothes as I could have. That was like +5 this, +7 this, +4 this. So I just at the end had a whole inventory screen of just outfits I could swap, and I'd come up to a terminal and be like, clothes change, be like, what is it, Sailor Moon, and like transformation sequence, and just change into my hacking armor and go, okay, cool. Now put back on my stupid hat and my big power armor.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's exactly. I was doing that for a lot, much more in my second playthrough, and I saw you helped me with it, because I was just ignoring them. But like glacier water and caffeine drinks and a couple of other things that just boost your mind stats or your body stats. I wasn't.
Yeah, just a simple +1 is a lot.
Consumables, right? Especially to body, so that way you can not be encumbered and fast travel. You don't need to waste a perk point on that perk if you're close enough. You just drink a caffeine drink and then quickly.
Yeah, and it'll give you like 10 extra carry weight. It'll give you just enough strength to get out of being over encumbered, so you can go fast travel, which is honestly great. Excuse me. Especially if you're not playing on Supernova, then you have the ability to just kind of fast travel anywhere. If you're playing on Supernova, the only place you can fast travel is back to your ship. So if you plan for it, it can be advantageous because you're like, okay, there's a quest over there near the ship. I just need to go do these things and fast travel to the ship, grab a couple of things, tinker on my weapons, and head out, and I'm already near the objective since you can't do any actual fast traveling. That didn't really help me at all on Murder on Eridanos because there's only one landing zone on the entire city, which is a shame because you would think there could be one at the Wilderness Reserve or at the spaceport. It's called the spaceport. You'd think there would be a place for me to land.
What?
So what was your first impression landing on Eridanos? Getting off the elevator and...
Yeah, it's like you said, it's The first thing you see is kind of that huge landing pad, and you go down that elevator, and you're in like it, for lack of a better, like a landing warehouse. There's like crates everywhere.
Kind of like a little
And you
shipping
feel
yard,
like
yeah.
yeah, you feel like you're walking into the back end of a restaurant or something. There's just like everything that you're not supposed to see is kind of going on back here, and then you get led through and to the murder scene. Like, oh, you're finally here. Good. This is wild. We haven't had anything like this happen here. It's very film noir. If you like old black and white movies, Sam Spade, all that stuff. It's yeah, it. I felt like I was playing a detective thriller, and I liked it very much. And the setting itself, like you said, there's these huge long bridges that connect to these different jet-powered land masses. That's kind of just like you said, falling through the orbit of a gas giant. But it's all good because you can breathe and it just looks beautiful. Like the sky has, you can see the rings and uh, gas clouds and stuff. It just looks great. It feels very
2K says,
outdoorsy for
I
being-
gotta give the game a try sometime. Thank you for dropping by. I don't think I've seen your name in our chat before. Thank you for stopping by. Hit the like button, subscribe if you like. Definitely give this game a try. You can usually pick it up pretty cheap. And if you're going to, definitely try the Spacer's Choice Edition, because it has all the visual enhancements as well as the DLC. So, you won't have to buy them separately.
Yeah, that's the best deal. If you can find the Spacer's Choice on PC, you're probably going to get the best experience. They speak to Rochi as well. Like, should he get it for the Switch? If you can get it for PC, I think you could.
When you get to the murder scene, it's kind of nice because, as indicated, oh, this is gaseous under a different account. Ah, makes sense. If you, when you come into the murder scene, Helen, or I guess Ruth Bellamy, who is the actress who plays, Halcyon Helen, Helen's there on the floor, and you're in, like, the ballroom, so it's been cordoned off. Everybody's trying to peek in and see what's going on, but you're let straight in there. And right off the bat, the little, I don't know, the egghead girl. I don't know exactly what her job is. She's sort of the coroner. She's sort of the mortician. She's sort of a detective. She's also sort of dumb. So, like... She's a really interesting character. I just don't know, what's your job title, miss? What do I refer to you as? Like, what do you do here? But she hands you your detective gun, which is, I don't know. Let's just take a look at it real quick. It is called the discrepancy analyzer. She hands you this stupid little thing, which has a scope on the back, and you can look and see, like, she refers to it as, like, temporal anomalies, discrepancies. It's some sci-fi mumbo-jumbo to be like, hey, look, there's some clues. It's basically a sci-fi magnifying glass. That's really all it is. However, it's got a really slept-on function that I didn't realize until halfway through my 10-hour live stream. The main function on it doesn't do any damage, and it has a really shitty firing pattern in the fact that it shoots like heavy electricity balls and you have to like arc them at people. But this gun is a taser. It will 100% ragdoll anything you shoot it at. Any enemy in the game, it'll inflict stun and knockdown on simultaneously. So you can just shoot them in the face. You can just shoot them with this thing and then run up and melee them to death. Like this gun doesn't do any damage, but the fact that it always CCs made it quite good, actually. That's why it's in my second slot. It's just, even though I'm not on Eridanos anymore, you just pull it out and go, stun, stun, stun. Okay. Butcher them up.
I wish I had this. I wish I had this for... Oh no, because you still can't get to the terminal when you're in combat. There's that one side quest where you're like, you go into the facility and there's all the raptidons down there, and the scientist wants you to not kill the raptidons so you can gas them and put them to sleep. I wish I would have had that to be able to just tase them and get them away from me. But because you get a set limit, you can kill like 8 or 12 before he gets really mad. But yeah, the discrepancy amplifier uh, works even if it's not in your inventory, or if it's just in your inventory. It will tell you. It beeps and it will tell you that's a
It
temporal
doesn't beep.
anomaly
It
detected.
says beep beep beep.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It vocally says beep beep beep. To
I
you.
do kind of like that. Right after I got the the amplifier, I messaged you on Discord. I'm like, am I gonna hate this thing? Is it gonna be like a snarky little side companion? Is it gonna be like constantly talking to me and shit? Fortunately, no. It does have some dialogue, and it does have a little bit of a personality, which makes it fine. I feel like the DLC wouldn't suffer at all if the thing didn't talk to you, and it was just your companions and you talking, and just you thinking. Whatever. The fact that it exists is pretty cool. Whenever you come across a clue, you just pull it out, and then you just aim at it through the scope, and then you interact with it. Most of the things you're going to find are going to be footprints, which are just going to kind of generally lead you in a direction. Which is cool, but also I think the person who programmed that and came up with that idea and implemented that forgot that this is a video game and you just have omniscient waypoints.
Oh yeah. They just
Like you just select the quest and it says, "Hey, it's 560 meters over there." And if you read the text in there, it says, "Oh, and then go through the front door, take the second left, go down the stairs, and it's the terminal on the right." Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, text.
Yeah, there's a lot of hand holding with that, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't have found anything had I been left to my own devices, because some things are so far away, and there's a happy medium there where it's telling you, yeah, go over that way, but not go over that way down the stairs to the left. Computers on the south wall. That's a little much to me. I also did not find the discrepancy amplifier as annoying as the talking gun in Cyberpunk 2077. I forget his
Skippy?
name. I want to say, yeah, Skippy. Thank you. Yeah, that one was like, yeah, he was being snarky.
Bum ba dum bum bum ba da 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 dum ba da bum. It's like in the middle of fucking combat. Like, shut up, dude.
And I refused to give it back to the lady that you're supposed to give it back to. You're supposed to like return Skippy back to the one.
Fuck you. This is my annoying talking gun.
Right. Oh, but yeah, I did enjoy it, and I did not know about the double unique effect of where it will knock you down and
knock back and stun. So if an enemy's like doing a move or whatever, it'll interrupt it and then it'll put them in knockdown. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It doesn't do any damage though, and it does, like I said, have like range fall off. So if you're shooting further away, you're gonna have to like arc it up. But whatever.
Similar to
once you get used to it, it's fine.
Yeah. I oh no, it wasn't special. It was probably one of the grenade launchers. Purple Punch, maybe.
Yeah, the plasma launcher's got a bunch of an arc to it. And then getting to the other few science weapons that come in this DLC, the one that you get later on is Halcyon Helen's signature weapon, the Needler. It's just a pretty cool pistol. It doesn't do a bunch of damage itself, but its unique perks really make up for that fact. It is a bottomless magazine pistol, so it will shoot until the durability on the gun runs out and it literally can't fire anymore. It comes with 3 different bullet types, one that does like poison damage and damage over time, one that strips armor and does damage per shot, and then one that slows enemies and does damage per shot. So none of them particularly do a lot of damage. If you're just going to do damage, you're better off just using the one that does damage and damage over time, because that's primarily what you're gonna do. That's if you're gonna use this gun, I would feel like you probably want to rely more on your companions, because they're gonna soak up more of the bullets for you and let you get in a lot of the little needles into the enemies to let them bleed out while your allies are helping. It's not particularly a great gun, but it is really fun, and it has a lot of uniqueness to it to make it fun to use. Do you have any opinions on the Needler?
Yeah, it was definitely fun to use. I didn't use it a lot because it was weak, and uh, I didn't know that this DLC was the second one when I played through, because I just jumped right into the Outer Worlds, and you get the Aetherwave DLC before you get the Gorgon one, or at least that's how it happened to me, because I didn't progress the main campaign.
Right, yeah.
I went in a different direction, and I was just getting my butt kicked all over this entire DLC. But when I
the worm
finished
enemies,
it,
like how fast they are, is really disorientating. They're really tough.
right, and there's some guys that vomit purple stuff on you. I didn't care for them much either.
I was at the point of like my min-max power level where I could kind of just like dodge around the battlefield, and I didn't take a lot of damage, and anytime I did, I would just do some drugs and then use my character's ability to use like their pseudo time stops, so I could like tell Felix to go kick somebody, and since that takes like 2 seconds, technically you can like do a jump and your body will keep moving while you're doing that time stop, so you can just like abuse the mini time stops in combat. And in Supernova you kind of need to, because one enemy that does X can kill you in 2 seconds. So the enemies that vomit on you, if I stood in that vomit for more than 1 tick of damage, it would end me really, really quickly. Typically faster than I could heal, so I would just be jumping around.
I'm playing on hard difficulty right now because Supernova's too much for me. And some automechanicals, 2 shots and I'm down if I don't got the right armor on. Like, you do have to, and it explains that to you a bit. You got to think to get around your enemies as you increase the difficulty. And
you really don't have to fight every enemies either. There's a lot of enemies you can just run around, run through, but then you're not getting a lot of XP. Tukius asked,
right.
I must have missed it, or it didn't come up yet. Is the character creator good in this game? I would say yes and no. The character creator is good in the fact that it gives you a lot of like stat options. Though the way the stats work in this game, which I'll pull it up real quick so you can see it, you have 2 main sorts of stats. You have body, mind, and personality, which is separated into strength, dex, and then intelligence, perception, and then charm and temperament. And then each of those also have affected skills. So strength is one-handed melee, two-handed melee, heavy weapons, block, inspiration, intimidate, plus its carry weight and melee damage. So that one thing provides a lot of skill. So whenever you're in your character creator at the beginning, you get to pick which points to put into which of these. And then in the next section, you have your skills, which are all of the individual skills, that all of the aspects of you, or your attributes. Each of your attributes are separated in your skill menu, which you can put more points into. And if it's your first time, you can kind of just put it into whatever sounds good. Or if you're playing, you want lockpick in the beginning and you want persuade, you want to get through certain checks, so you can just, kind of metagame it. And then last but not least, you have perks, which I think you only get 1 at the beginning, or you don't get any until level 5. But perks come up and they drastically change your shit as well. So, in the aspect of, like, pen and paper, yes, I really like the character creator in this game. Once you get past that and go to make your character's face and stuff, for a game that came out in 2019, holy fuck is it limited. It's hard to make good-looking characters. It really is.
That's one of the things I could complain about the game overall is...
Like, I try to make my character hot, and look, she still looks gruff.
Right, well, that's what I mean. Like, it's the faces and stuff that they all, they're just not. It's not great.
Yeah, the pen and paper part of it, really great, really good. But the actual, when you make your character, it's like, very limited.
It's very Sims. It's very much like The Sims or something. Somewhere between Me Creator and making a me and a Sim.
Yeah, right. You have a couple of options and then a couple of sliders, but nothing super advanced, unfortunately.
Right.
So, it's like I said, it's good and bad. Good and bad. If you just play with the option to wear a helmet most of the time,
you're probably not going to ever see your character's head ever again, because armor is only separated into 2 slots, body and head. So
That was another bit of complaining I
Yeah.
had. There should have. I wish there was like helmet, eyewear, jacket, pants. But and again, not to compare it too much to Cyberpunk, I felt they took it too far. You know, where it was like jacket, shirt, pants, shoes, hat. You know, like it's okay. 6 slots is a bit much. 4 to me is better.
I like having that many slots if a lot of them are cosmetic. I want only a couple of... I want, like, your body, your legs, maybe gloves, and, like, helmet to be, like, the couple of things that really give you stats, and then everything else be, like, cape, shoulder plates, you know, like, jetpack, all of that crap that it's just cosmetic or gives you extra stuff, but doesn't really give you stats. Because then, like you said, it's a lot to manage. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now I got a new hat. Is this 2 points worth it? Okay, it's not really worth it because it'll affect my carry weight, but it does give me extra intelligence. Do I really want to carry multiple hats?
Right, and that's another thing. Like, in this case, I think you can make sets. You know what I mean? And that's what I was kind of doing with Outer Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, was like there's a top hat, a nice hat, and you get the Chimera in Byzantium. It's like the something I noticed on my second playthrough that I didn't get in my first. There is back to Gorgon. Sorry to keep going around.
It's a bonus episode. We have a lot less structure here.
Okay, great. Okay, good. There's a Canid show where you go to,
oh yeah,
you're trying to get some information. You're trying to get some information out of this guy so you can go to a building, and you need his key card, and he wants you to steal a trophy. And I'm like, okay, great. And I happen to have the Chimera outfit on with the top hat, so I had my persuade all the way up. I went back to Terra 2 to Byzantium, but it's like a new area.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh, is that a so-and-so original? That's very nice." Like, they complimented my outfit, and I didn't know.
Oh, they noticed that you were wearing a Byzantium outfit?
Yeah, I forget the brand name that they have there. It starts with a J. But, like, you know, you do that quest, and you get that special... You gotta go get all the canid tails and fur and some primal hides, and you get a nice outfit for it. And they knew I was wearing it, and I was really impressed with that. Like, little bells and whistles like that. So,
I should have done more questing in Byzantium. I turned against the board too early, and all the guards in the town didn't... In theory, I could have just went around town and killed all the guards, and then left city for like days and days and days until all the NPCs calmed down. But I was like, I don't feel like doing an extermination on a bunch of bugs running around the city. I'm just gonna leave the city. You guys win. I killed your commander. I'm gonna go kill the chairman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of eyes in Byzantium. It's a cop on every corner, really. More than
there's at least 2 quests that I didn't like bother with. There's the one where you have to go to the lady who makes clothes and model 3 outfits for her. If you don't already have the outfits, or you're not already hoarding them knowing you're going to do that quest, it is a pain in the ass to get done. And once the board turns on you, you can't even get into her room because she has 3 guards in her room, and they will gun you down the second you walk in there. And because of how aggro works in this game, it's like horde-based. So you'll walk in there, the guards will see you, and they have right and aggro to kill you on sight. And because you're shooting, or you're being shot by the guards, she pulls out her gun and be like, oh, hey, fuck, that's an enemy? All right, we'll kill them too. I'm like, shop owner, I was coming in here to model the outfits. You know who I am, please.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. That's another slight complaint. Is once you've aggravated everybody, they are on you. It doesn't matter where. I've
kill on sight is really hard to get around.
I've killed people like where nobody's seen me kill a guy, and it's aggroed other people that were just in the building. It's like, oh, okay.
Right, they're in an invisible field radius, and now they have they're not like aggroed on you, but they're on the red alert status. So where if they see you, they're gonna go on to like hostile mode. That happened to me when I got to Eridanos. I snuck around into the employee crew, and I got down into the room with the bellhop who runs the elevator, and I was talking to her. I went through all the dialogue with her, and I was like, bam, 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 and I murdered her. And like nobody saw it. I made sure her corpse wasn't in the way, like nothing. And then I go around, and the main lady, like the main check-in lady, she's like red on the mini map, and I'm like,
yeah.
So now I either have to just wait it out until she's not mad, or I just have to avoid her forever. I think it's gonna cause me more pain to kill this one NPC that nobody knows about, except for the fact that the elevator doesn't talk to you anymore.
And I was curious about that. Like, if they replace with like, if you leave and come back, is there a new employee working there?
I'd never left and came back, but if you kill her and go to the elevator, it'll just like say silence, or like a good example is if you try to go to the VIP floor and she's dead. It will tell you, it'll be like, nothing happened. I assume you don't have access to it.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah. So they basically just, nerf that. Once you kill the elevator lady, there's no more elevator for you.
Yeah, I don't think it gets replaced, but there's no longer dialogue. You can just run the elevator yourself. Like, you go to the penthouse floor and hit the button, and it's just ... and it just takes you there. There's no dialogue.
Okay.
So I was like,
where it says, "Oh, I want to go home."
I don't know. I kind of liked her. She was chipper, so I'll just rewind. This is the one time I'm gonna unkill somebody.
So you start investigating the murder on Eridanos, and there's when you first get to your penthouse, it is a wreck. Still, they say it's clean. They're cleaning it up. It's just they're trying to buy time for you to get the whole story, so you can't skip around. But,
right, and like honestly, there are no clues like actually in the penthouse. Like really, there's like ashtrays. There's some clothes you can interact with. But there's no real clues.
Yeah, I think there's one tablet that you get to read, and you find out that she was dating one of the tossball players who was staying downstairs in the VIP room, or on the VIP floor. And that tossball team is out of control.
They were dating, but as the story progressed, and that's actually in the past from your perspective, they're now broken up. Recently, they had a picnic somewhere nearby, and Helen broke up with him because she was like, I can't give you what you want. Basically, right. And he's like, I'm angry, and he got mad about it, and that is what leads him to have motive for the murder, is that he got broke up with them and he had some incel cuck rage, so he killed her. Right. What do you think about that motive for murder? What do you think about like, what is his name? Black, Betty, Bo.
Yeah, a black hole something. I can't remember his first, because he's like the black hole, like that's just his name. I remember that, and he's also not the brightest guy. Like as you deal with him, you realize he's just kind of a scorned.
Birdie Holcomb, yeah. Birdie.
That's it, black hole Birdie.
When I first heard the last name, I was like, wait, hold on, are you two related? Because you have a Parvati Holcomb. And you have Birdie Holcomb. Are y'all related? Like, what's going on here? Is it just coincidence? Is it like Smith?
I think there should have been dialogue for that.
I never heard it come up that they both have the same last name. But oh well. Anyway, what did you think of Birdie being a suspect?
Well, as you go around, you find out that Ruth Bellamy's up to some shenanigans. So, for him being a suspect, I was wondering what she was doing with him in the first place, because I was on the same side as some of the other witnesses. They're like, that like they were into each other, but she was a bit too smart for him. And other times she'd be completely cold. And other times she was all over him. And you're just like, what is going on with this person?
What is she, like, split
And
personality or something? Jesus.
right. She was acting one way a lot of times. It's very much like she was a double agent. And so I thought that he could have been, but likely wasn't a murderer. I just feel like he's more of a scorned lover, like you said. He's got the incel rage. But I don't think he was smart enough to commit a murder and get away with it.
No, absolutely not. Especially with based on the way she was killed. It didn't seem like it'd be his style either. It seemed like he would have been like the type to choke her or like throw her off the city or something like that, you know? Something to use his renowned strength and his whatever, but she was relatively untouched as far as being dead.
Right, it didn't come off like a crime of passion. It
Yeah,
would have been a
so
mess.
exactly, it wouldn't have been so neat and calculated. If it would have been, he probably wouldn't still be at the hotel. He probably made his escape the night he did it. Like, why is he still sticking around? Like, he could have told his manager some story, but like, I don't like the accommodations here. I'm going to a different hotel. Fuck you guys. You know, he could have done something to make himself. And my girlfriend just broke up with me. Fuck you guys. I'm leaving.
Right. And I think that's what makes him the suspect, is just pure timing.
Yeah, so,
It just happens to be.
in my opinion, immediately I was like, nah, he didn't do it. Nah, it's... Like, he could have. Nah, he didn't do it. Nah. This seems like, to me, just my first instinct, this seems like some sort of, like, corpo hit or something. That's what my instinct was.
Right, because you find out she's been digging through some information that's on that
Rizzo Brown.
called Olympus. Right. That's what they were promoting, and I think there was something wrong with it, or something. There was something that was going. I can't remember because I didn't play through as much as I should have the second time. But yeah, it was related to the product launch.
What is the name of the hotel?
Yeah, good question.
I thought she...
I'm a bit congested today.
Oh, well, doesn't matter. Either way, yeah, so she's digging around because she was given the job to promote Rizzo Brown, but something just seemed off. And Ruth takes after her character that she portrays and starts digging around and snooping and trying to figure out what's going on here. So as you, the player, dig up more clues, it kind of affirmed my suspicion that Birdie definitely didn't do it. I don't know who did it yet, but Birdie definitely didn't do it. Crime of passion doesn't add up with the behind-the-scenes stuff. It lines up too weirdly.
Yeah, and you find out that there's a lot of R&D going on here. There's a whole science department that Rizzo's has. That's what I didn't get to mention. There's a Rizzo's factory, and it looks very much... It's not inspired by, but it's like a Wonka style factory.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely Wonka in style, yeah.
But it's not as weird on the inside as Wonka's factory, but it's definitely like portraying a certain brand. Lots of sugar, lots of vodka.
Yeah, and the hotel, which is called the Grand Colonial. The Colonial is kind of just a rich person's place to rub noses together so people can have a fancy place away from Byzantium that isn't Byzantium, you know, a fancy home away from home.
Well, yeah, and real quick, you learn in Byzantium they're letting pores in, and so the rich people who are already there, they want to get away from more pores. So it makes sense that they would have a whole resort to themselves.
It wouldn't even be unheard of if there were VIP floors that are like permanent residents that you could just have people just checking out all year so that they can have room service and not have to do anything and just, you know, a little bit of privacy. Because it is kind of a... It's kind of hard to get to that place unless you just literally fly there on a ship. It's not like you can get a taxi to the hotel.
Yeah. The whole layout there is pretty strange. Yeah, you got to catch up to it to land too, because it's constantly in orbit.
Right, it's never in the same place. So, I think the whole concept of it is really interesting. The next big suspect that comes up is the Prophet of Profitability. Apparently, Halcyon had met with her at least once or twice before her untimely murder, and you don't really know why or what's going on, so that's kind of the lead you have to go with. She met with this person before she died, and now she's dead. So, let's go figure out what happened. What did you think of the Prophet? I regret not killing her.
Yeah, she wants to go to jail, from what I recall. Like, she's, like, trying to, like, be edgy and trouble, wants to be a martyr. That's why I didn't kill her, because she, like, that would be the ending that the Prophet would need. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was thinking about killing her so her little follower right outside of her tent would take over, because it seemed like her follower was kind of done with this whole shit and was just holding on for the promotion. Like, it was a really relatable position. She's like, look, I hate my boss. I hate this fucking job. I don't believe in the company. The company message sucks. The fucking pay sucks. But I was promised a promotion, and if I get that fucking promotion, then it'll solve a lot of my problems. I was like, right. Okay, I get it. Can you want me to kill her?
I wanted to explore this camp more. So when I play through, I want to see what happens if I kill her, and does the second in command actually take up the mantle and keep the...
Right, because the Prophet does get a PNG like thing at the end of the game wherever it mentions like what happened to the Prophet. So whenever it says, the Prophet went off and she became like more cult-like and stuff, I was like, damn it. My instincts were right. I should have killed you.
I think I convinced her to turn herself in, and so she spent the rest of her time like enjoying jail. I think that happened.
I told her, I was like,
I can't recall.
Look, because it just seemed so fishy that she was just so eager to be like, well, yeah, okay, sure, you figured out my plans. Yep, I murdered her. Because before I went and talked to her, so you get to her sort of camp. It's
right.
inside of a building, and then her camp is in a big room inside the building with tents and stuff, and it's kind of an open plan in that one room. But the rest of it's like a little research facility. So before I went into her room, I just turned around and explored the rest of the facility. I went in every room. I dug up every terminal. I, looked through every drawer, and I was like, oh, okay, so I know pretty much what's going on here. And when I got to the Prophet, and I was like, Helen came here, and she was doing a ceremony with you, and you gave her way too much of that fucking drugs, and she passed out, and you thought you murdered her, and then you dragged her out into the wilderness, and then her body wasn't there, so either you killed her and put her body out there, and then you moved her body later for no reason, or you didn't do it. You did everything up until, but it just turned out you didn't do the kill. You sucked at it. You thought you did. You tried to get away with it. You definitely have committed crimes here.
Right.
But you're not here for the crime I'm being paid to investigate. And I was playing my game very, very strict and straight morals on that, where I was like, okay, so if I'm not paid to do this job, it's not my problem, really. So when she could have been like, I've been scamming the entire government. I'm the reason all the food has been dying. I'm the reason you were stuck in your pod for 70 years. It was all me. I was like, yeah, okay. That's really inconvenient for everything you just said. But did you kill Halcyon, Helen?
Yeah,
no?
Right. That's what,
okay,
I'm
cool.
Not here for the
cool.
rest.
I'm here for that. Wait, I can come back and kill you for that shit later if I feel like it, but I really don't care about whatever else you did. Are you raping all your followers? Don't care. Doesn't affect me. Did you kill Halcyon, Helen? No, you almost did. Cool. I'm out of here. And whenever she was just like, no, I did it. Take me to jail. Take me to jail. I'm evil. I'm bad. I did it. I was like, you are way too eager. Even if you did do it, and one of your followers moved her corpse,
Yeah,
My instincts say this is weird. I don't know if you got like a resting fetish or something. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, a confinement fetish. Wants to be in a single cell. That's why that tent. But yeah, I wanted to explore this area more, because of that. But yeah, definitely. And Annie should be back. Also,
You click one thing and you click one thing in StreamYard. This is like a known issue that's been going on with StreamYard. If you like pull up a banner or something, or like a comment or something, it'll kick the host out. And it's not like they kick you out. It just gives you an error, like try again. So you just hit try again and go back in with your same setup exactly like you had it. And what I was trying to do is say, would you believe me if I told you I forgot to record again? I mean, we're still going live, so it's still going to YouTube. But damn, I knew I forgot one thing.
Your local recording.
Yeah, forgot to record locally. Whatever.
What, do you want to start all over?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna play the intro, and then we'll. No, it's fine.
No, I remember what you said you had to do. You got to pull it down.
There we go.
From YouTube.
Okay, cool. Nope, it's still going live. We're still looking good, so that won't matter. The only thing I need the local recording for is for the podcast, which, as I mentioned before we went live, isn't really like a thing. I don't really do the audio only format of the show anymore, so
fair enough.
Doesn't really matter. It's just peace of mind to know I have the recording. Moving on. The Prophet was like a relatively short encounter because I think I did the like I said, I think I did it out of order, because the first thing I found was the imprint of her corpse out in the wilderness.
Oh.
I found that first before anything else. And I was like, huh, this is weird. Okay, cool. And then as soon as I went into the facility before talking to the thing, I went and dug through all of her information, finding out that, she was like poisoned and it was a cover up. I talked to her follower who said she watched her drag a corpse out into the wilderness. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of circumstantial evidence here, but no body, no murder.
That's what I think they were trying to push you into. It's like, oh, you got every bit of evidence to convict this person. She's even saying she's guilty, but you don't have a weapon, and you do. You kind of, it's the chemical, the plastic basically that she was burning. And like you said, no body, no murder. I can't convict you on somebody that doesn't exist anymore, whether they're dead or alive. We don't. It's Schrodinger's Halcyon Helen.
Right, and I could just go rogue and blow your head off, which is what I've been doing this entire playthrough up until now. But I'm kind of liking this inspector role, so I'm going to keep a bit of an air of a professionalism around this and not just going to kill the suspect and say, she didn't do it, but I didn't like her, so...
Yes, exactly, and that
ruins my credibility.
Not a likable. Yeah, right, and that's another thing. You don't want to ruin your own credibility, especially as an inspector. But yeah, I was very sus of this person from the get because of the whole. Yep, that was me. You can't be so readily, like, just as a gamer, you kind of know certain tropes, and that was one of them. I felt.
Yeah, it was like the too good to be true kind of thing. I was like, all right, well, you stay put here.
Platter. That means, yeah, exactly.
I just told her to kind of, you stay here. I'm not going to arrest you. You're not going to go to jail because you haven't done anything that I'm here to press you for. If the regular police find out, you're fucked, but I'm not the regular police, so it's fine.
No, you're special inspector for Rizzo's. Right? That is who hires you, right?
Yeah, you're hired by a executive of Rizzo's. I don't know if it's like the CEO or whatever, but the guy who comes over to the administrator or whatever his name is, DeSoto or whatever, that you talk to the whole...
Yes, DeSoto, you're right.
Yeah, the administrator you're talking to the whole time. He's the one who actually hired you. Now, moving on to who you're actually dealing with, though. The entire... It's not a city, but the entire floating hotel platform structure thing, that it is owned and operated by Sedgwick. Sedgwick? How do you fucking say his
Sedgwick?
name? I don't know. Sedgwick. I'm gonna just say Sedgwick. Yep. So Sedgwick is the owner and the proprietor of the hotel. He also owns the Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, which is aptly named Slug. So he runs Slug, and he also unofficially runs the hotel. He doesn't really he's not in there. He's not running and checking rooms or whatever, but he's the one that makes sure that it keeps running and the place has supplies and there's not a bunch of ruffians and whatever. So Slug keeps things going. Due to a corpo dum-dum move, the administrator signed a contract with Sedgwick that basically let him have complete control of everything that happened on the platform itself. It's still owned by Rizzo's, and we'll still do Rizzo stuff, and we'll still advertise your stuff, and we'll still carry your stuff, and whatever. But this is my base. And Cedric kind of got over on him because apparently the administrator didn't read the contract or didn't vet it or whatever, and agreed to it. And now him and Cedric do not like each other because he's like, "You fucked me," and Cedric's like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah, basically. You walk into those two having a argument. You said corporate dum-dum. I was going to say contract dispute because that's exactly what you walk into. And that's what a lot of this game can be if you're that kind of guy. You either, like you were saying, you're playing the I'm going to shoot 'em up genocide kind of thing. If I don't like you, you're gone. Or you're just the negotiator the whole game. And you could, all right, let's figure this out and
State your
try
case.
to help. Yeah, exactly that. And it's I think it's influencing me in my real life because I keep trying to analyze everything now. Okay, so
trying to get the true neutral ending for everything.
Right. Well, or if I'm at the grocery store, it's like I'm making small talk with the cashier, and I got different responses in my head now. Oh, how's your day going? Fucking great. Or there's like three. There's like from the normal I'm doing good to the sarcastic answer in my brain now. I really enjoy it, but yeah, those two are nuts. The Slug Sublight Underground is separate from Sublight, by the way,
and separate from separate from Sublight like entirely. Like it's only associated by name. Lilia Hagen and her Sublight doesn't really have anything to do with Cedric and his Slug.
Right. I didn't know that at first, that they were two separate. I was like, why are these?
They even
guys
use the same
shooting so
logo.
hard?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so it is. They are two very different sides of the same coin.
Yeah, you don't have I was like, why is my faction reputation not helping me out here? Like, I should be all right with this guy. And he's like, no.
I had a rough relationship with Cedric. I walked in and I'm like, hey, you're like the man in charge, right? And he's like, yeah, are you accusing me of murder? And I'm like, no, I'm investigating the murder. Did you do it? And he's like, no, I was busy torturing somebody at the time. I'm like, okay, dude, you're really coming across really badly right now, okay? Can you elaborate on that? He's like, oh yeah, the guy was like stealing from me, and he told people some information he should have. So I had to torture and me figure out what he was spreading around. I'm like, what, you didn't kill Halcyon Helen? Nope. It's like, okay, all right. The entire time too, he's like infinitely smug. Like he's just smiling, and he's like, what are you gonna do? Oh, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna shoot me in the face? Do it. And the entire time I'm like, man, I really want to, but I know you didn't. You may have been responsible for it, but I don't think you pulled the trigger on her, or you poisoned her. So you may have hired somebody to do it. I'm gonna get some more information. I'm gonna come back to you. And he's like, do you want to hear about my alibi, about the day where I was at the time? And I was like, no, I'll come back for that. You gave me enough information to work with. I'm very confused about how to handle you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Whereas the other two people, I
and
knew immediately. I was like, Birdie, nope, no big deal. Prophet, you're completely insane, but you didn't do it. This guy, I was immediately like, okay, we'll figure it out.
right, see, well, he's a questionable character, and so it's like you get three options. You get the guy with the crime of passion. Did he murder his girlfriend? You get the weirdo zealot who's, yes, it was me. I'm, wide-eyed and ready to be a martyr and go to jail. And
She made
"Oh,
fun
I
of my
did the
seminars.
thing."
Yeah.
Exactly. And now you got the smug corporate guy who's like, yeah, I didn't do that one, but guess what I was doing while you were thinking I was murdering? I was actually, torturing some people and yanking out their fingernails. And you're like, so you can pin it on a guy that might be innocent. You can pin it on somebody who wants to be guilty, or you can pin it on somebody who may likely be guilty for worse things than murder and get rid of him completely. So, you're kind of running with a dilemma internally too, as a player of the game. You're like, somebody's got to be guilty here. And you want him to be the guy. It would be like if Aaron from Steel Toe got busted doing some shit. You're like, finally he's getting some comeuppance. It'd be the same thing. Oh, that might not have been what he's guilty for, but he's getting that comeuppance.
Right.
And
I
kinda
didn't know what
deserves
he was guilty of exactly, except for what he admitted to. But if something's weird's going on here. At that point, I hadn't figured out that he fucked over the administrator, and he's kind of the de facto owner of everything around here. So I didn't know why he was just so smug and be like, "I'm fucking bulletproof. Touch me, and you're dead."
Yeah.
I didn't really get it at first. Then I investigated the last suspect, which is Halcyon Helen's co-star / the protagonist of the series, or the last big series, which I can't remember his name, but he's like a hoity-toity actor. He's very like full of himself and stuff like that, and he is constantly mad because he is obviously in her shadow. He's like the second billing. He's second. He's tired of being under her. And then once they go to this hotel to promote the Rizzos with both of their characters, she gets the executive suite and he gets just a regular big room. And he's mad about it. So they move him to the second biggest room, and it's still not enough for him. So he's just constantly pissed at her. Other than that, though, it didn't seem like he really had a motive. There was no, he had a lot of motive, but no catalyst. There's nothing that set it off. Like the prophet, she could have done it because insulted the seminars and was gonna make Halcyon Helen was gonna let people know that it was fake, so she tried to get rid of her. Then Birdie could have done it because it was a crime of passion, and he's mad because they can't be together anymore. The one guy could have done it for any number of reasons, but it didn't seem to me that there was anything that would have set it off with this guy. And I'm like, something probably would have set you off eventually, and you probably would have tried to kill her, but I don't think you currently have done that.
Right. He comes off like a jealous actor, a jealous, I got passed over for a promotion kind of person. And as you investigate him more, you find out he is up to some shenanigans with his lead actress, co-star, and does not care for her to be the front man for the promotions.
Yeah, so he's just overall just upset about it. So but other than just raw jealousy and stuff, the game is on Game Pass. Excellent. Is the version on there the Spacer's Choice version? If it is, fantastic. I don't know if the Game Pass version will come with the DLC though. You'll have to figure it out.
I'm hoping so. Knock on wood.
Right. So out of these four main suspects, it felt to me like only Sedgwick really could have done it. Like everyone else had reason, opportunity. Dude didn't really have a reason though. He had motive, but no reason. The upgrade is $10. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that isn't too. That's actually quite reasonable. But as you investigate him, you find out that he was in some security footage. You gain security footage, and he was in the kitchen during the time that somebody may have poisoned Halcyon Helen's food or Ruthbell.
Yeah, that's the cause of death is, what is the actual cause of death? I feel like I forgot that. It's not the poisoning. The poison didn't get her. Was it a bullet?
No.
Was it her own gun?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't remember offhand either. I'm like looking at the website, but that's what I mean. I think there wasn't really an autopsy that you could look at. You just kind of know she's possibly poisoned.
She's in the autopsy room with the doctor or whatever, but
that's right.
How is she actually killed?
That's a good question, because I don't know offhand.
Wow, I can't believe we both don't know what the actual cause
I know,
of
I'm
death
blanking
was.
on it.
Did she just get shot?
And here's the thing, as I'm reading through, it doesn't say. It's like Tara Marner. She also played alongside co-stars. Spencer Woolrick is the other actor that we were blanking on as well. But it doesn't say, we're on Eridanos, and if I go click on that.
Yeah, weird. So the poisoning was enough to upset her, but it didn't actually kill her. Because you can go through that side quest there and dig through that evidence if you decide to feel like that's until you go through with it, you find that she's poisoned, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I gotta figure this out. Who poisoned her? Was it the chef? The chef seems pretty innocent, but there are two people in here, so I gotta investigate both those two people and figure out what's going on. I believe it is revealed that Spencer did poison her because he was mad that she was gonna be in the spot. However, he only poisoned her enough to make her sick, so she was unable to physically be up on stage, and he would be called in as a backup because she would be throwing up or shitting her brains out, whatever. So he was trying to lightly poison her. That when I figured that out, I was like, okay, he definitely could have done it, but if he didn't just kill her with the poison, then something more went on here. I'm just totally blanking like a big dummy, figuring out what actually killed her. It seems like there isn't like a solid answer. It seems like the most likely answer is she was just shot based on the Aetherwave drama trailer that kind of gets you into the whole thing. Seems like the person walks into the room, she's shocked about who it is, and then she gets killed.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, Brandon Lee's situation. Like, it was supposed to be a fake gun, and then it turns out the prop gun was a real gun, and she ended up killed. But I'm not sure. I don't remember if that's exactly how it happened.
I don't know. I guess I'll have to figure it out and post it in the comments. So if you're still checking it out on this part, check in the comments right now, and I'll answer what actually killed her if I can figure out that answer. We will also figure out who killed her coming up soon. After you've kind of pressed all of these four people, there's a lot more going on. Like you said, there's a research facility. You have to figure out what Halcyon Helen was doing, running around, investigating all of this stuff, what the Rizzo company is doing here at this hotel, why do they have a lab here. So there's a lot of side quests to figure out what's going on. And one of them, while you're digging around, you find out that there has been a lot of theft going on at the shipping yard that Sedgwick is in charge of. A lot of it's just like petty random theft that doesn't really like makes a lot of sense. Like somebody stole some toothpicks, and then somebody stole some wrenches, and then next week they stole a bunch of apples, and then after that it was like some cans of soda, and then after that it was a tire iron. So like none of it was connected. Like as soon as you thought it was connected, like, oh, now they're stealing food. Now they're stealing car parts. I don't get it. And now they stole a shipment with 20 different random items in it. Who the fuck knows what's going on here? As you investigate this storyline, you find out that Halcyon Helen is actually the one who is kind of behind this. She was doing some deep
role research, kind of like think like Heath Ledger or whatever, where he's going around being a psychopath for fun because he wants to be more like the Joker, to be more a better actor at it. Apparently, she's going around being like more a character actor and learning how to hack and steal and be sneaky and all of this stuff to better her roles in the future. And she programmed some auto mechanicals to kind of just skim off of things. It would just skim random things until it came across the one item it was actually there for, and being buried under that much crap, she would actually be able to steal the one item she was there to steal. When you bring this up to Sedgwick, he is not surprised, but he is slightly upset. He was the one that kind of gave her the opportunity to do this and was kind of letting her do it, but he didn't realize that she was actually stealing from him. Like, he thought it was just role research.
The right practice.
She wasn't doing practical research. She was doing like just bookwork, whatever. And this sets him off, and he admits straight up to you, yeah, I would have killed her if I would have known that. And now you immediately you have motive, you have reason, you have method, you have basically everything. You could have placed him at the time of the crime scene, everything, except for it doesn't line up chronologically now.
Right.
He just if you are to be believed and he's to be believed, he just now found out that she was stealing from him, and now he has a reason to kill her, and he will kill her if she's still alive. Unfortunately, that already happened, and it's kind of a moot point, so I'm out of luck here.
Right. Right. Also,
and he's a man of logic, so he immediately just kind of gets over it because he's like, oh well, she's already dead then. Works out for me. That was karma.
Yeah. And, right. You got what you deserved. But yeah, it was a good aspect to keep, like, why is she doing this? It's another, like, one of those shell game, like, okay, it could be this or it could be that, but really you pick up the third one and there it is. That's the real answer. There's a lot of things that are kind of happening that are a little weird. Extra food to the room. You find out that she's eating twice as much as normal people. And like with the boyfriend, there was like a dual personality. And as you're investigating this, there's all kinds of things going on, and the timeline starts. This is where I was getting more confused, because there's just like all over the entire base, there's just like evidence of her being there and doing things, and you keep, it's just,
and weirdly sometimes in two places at once.
Yeah, that's
presumably sometimes she would be like mingling with the rich people at the hotel, and then some people and terminal logs will place her at different locations. So like you said, it's here where the more you dig up, the more like you're just asking, like, what is going on here? Finally, you get to go to the Rizzo kind of like research facility, and you go into the labs, and you find a scientist down there who is working on the Rizzo Brown product. More specifically, she's working on the listener, you may have seen in your life that there are like some weird bottles of alcohol that have like tequila or something like that, that'll have like a worm, like a mealworm or something at the fucking bottom of it. I always thought that was kind of icky and gross, but I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to eat the worm. Maybe it's like a flavor. I don't know. But Rizzo's Brown is one of those fucking drinks. It's got a couple of worms at the bottom of it, and I guess it's to enhance it or make it whatever. I don't know. Rizzo's has a spectrum, literally, of vodka, and they got all sorts of flavors. Maybe this one's for fucking sickos. I don't know.
A glass for every class. Like, the Spectrum Vodka Red is the cheapest one, and the Indigo is, I think, the most expensive, and they have two other flavors, brown, which is the newest, and black, which is, I think, the previous.
They have a total of 8.
Like
so they have green, they have blue.
Right.
I don't know what all those other ones are about, but...
yeah. Well, that's what I think. It's, the different colors are different denominations. So like
different
if you want
price
a
points.
shot
It's
of
probably
red,
mostly the same ingredients with just coloring in it. That's probably a good point.
yeah, but like if you want a shot of red, it's $1. But if you want a shot of blue, it's $10. At least that's what I was led to believe.
I think
And
you're
the
totally
brown-
right. That you're probably right. It's probably the exact same batch. It's probably the same liquor. They probably just colorize it, and then they're like, okay, well, this is the $50 bottle, and that's the $580 bottle.
Exactly. And the new brown one has some type of worm in the bottom that makes people happy, and it is definitely a positive thing to ingest according to them. And as there's a couple of people that have a little parasite in their neck as you're walking around, and they are also extremely cheery. And that's the second kind of parallel weird thing that's going on.
Yeah, you have these people that are just seemingly okay with having worms in their neck. Tukius asks, don't they have a stat boost for the different colors? I think all of them have pretty much the same stat boost, like personality, this +1, and then these stats plus or -1. Alcohol is pretty weird. There's only a few circumstances I've seen in the game where you ever really need to drink alcohol. Like, I only ever needed it when I needed to pass, like, a very specific speech check, or, like, hacking if I didn't have my hacking hat on, because it would give you, like, +1 to whatever perk it was. I would only ever drink alcohol occasionally, because the negative effects on it seem to be more than the benefits. And it's not like other games where you can get a perk to remove the negative effects of alcohol and then just be like a monster just chugging alcohol constantly. So, if they have stat boosts that are different for each of the different colors, I don't know.
I think all the alcohols have pretty much the same stat boost. If it's alcohol, it's +1 to charm and temperament, and -1 to persuade and other dialogue skills. Like you're not as good because you're slurring your speech, man.
Hey, I do that normally.
Yeah, that's one of the funnier side quests. It's like you can keep getting one of the guards drunk until he gives you his key. Like, here, have another spectrum. Just keep feeding him out. Oh, I'm great, man. You're such a nice guy. It's so fun.
That man's a
But
champion if
brown
he's chugging
spectrum-
whole bottles at a time. So, as you mentioned, the brown spectrum is the newest flavor, and Halcyon is for the most part, it is either ultra shit or ultra nice. So, the ultra rich people are all about, like, fads and gimmicks and the new thing and stuff like that. And poor people are all about whatever they can get their hands on. So Rizzo's is coming out with a new thing that's new and fancy and unlike any of the other ones, and yet it's affordable. So they hire Halcyon Helen to promote it, and they're going for a big push on brown. It's kind of the drink for everyone. They have the glass for every class, like you said, but the brown is, hey man, if you don't want to make a choice, just go with the brown. It's the best one. It's cheap. And it's got the bonus worm flavor.
Yeah, and it's a mood improver. You find out that they're adding it deliberately for, much like the Adrena time. It's to keep people complacent more than it is to be
actually
an
solve
enjoyable
anything.
product.
Yeah, right.
Right.
They want to give them the additive that'll make them feel better about things, because as they're slowly starving and becoming emaciated and all of their value is being thrown out and, they're just slowly dying, they'll be like, yeah, but I feel really good. Can I get another glass?
It's another win for the toe syndrome. Like, you're constantly winning. And no matter what is happening that's terrible to you, you feel great. You feel like there's a positive outlook on everything. And yeah, you literally could be wasting away, emaciating, and you're like, oh yeah, but I got Spectrum Brown. And you chug some booze and go back to work.
The first person I come across that seems to be a big fan of this has one of the worms, because the worms themselves are pretty small. They're like in the bottle itself, But she has, like, I guess whatever the next stage of the evolution of that worm would be, kind of just growing out of her neck, as you mentioned. It's just kind of just right here in her neck, and just kind of, it's not flopping about, it's kind of rigid, actually. It's kind of just comfortably there, I guess. And she is creepily happy. She is way too excited about everything. She loves her job, and she could not wait to sell you Rizzo's products.
And
Pretty much like the ultimate employee, honestly.
Yeah, a huge plastered smile. If anybody's played Fallout 3, it's like Moira times 17 million. Like, she's just it's a positive outlook, because like Moira's even happy after her skin gets melted off and she gets ghoulified. This is the same type of situation.
Yeah, there's nothing that could get this woman down. I don't think so. Even when you talk about stuff that she doesn't want to, she's just comfortable like, well, let's move on to something else.
Yeah, exactly. And it's much more, at least with Moira, you felt like she was genuinely happy to be who she was. These people feel artificially induced happy, and it's very unsettling. It's very, what is that? Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. As you are in the worm research facility thing, and you're digging around for the scientist that you met, you find out that the worms kind of bond to you, and they just constantly kind of like emit dopamine and serotonin and, you know, a little bit of adrenaline. They just make you constantly feel fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I would assume the worms just suck life out of you in return for that. You can find in the terminals that it seems like one, or it depends on the mass amount. Like there's a critical mass at which point that you're no longer you. You can have so many worms in yours, worms of so many sizes, giving you so much of this benefit for you before you become like a mindless host. So Rizzo's is doing their job to kind of balance correctly how to give you worm juice, but good worm juice, because they don't want you to go crazy, because then that doesn't help anybody. You can actually find some of these people, and they're kind of like the generic enemies running around the hotel area. They're just like old Rizzo guards or workers or whatever, and they got multiple worms all over them, and they are completely insane. They will attack you, and they will throw up goop at you, and they will do all sorts of crazy weird attacks, all worm boosted attacks. I don't know. So Rizzo's is trying to make sure that they can give you the worms, but not too much worms. So that's why they're making the Rizzo's brown. It's a delivery method. That's the whole point of it. And they want to make you happy and complacent. And if you just keep drinking Rizzo's brown, then who knows what it'll do to you. I assume they didn't get that far into the test. And they may have been able to, except as you figure all of this out and you're heading back to the doctor to get whatever she wanted, she's murdered. The little safe room that she's in is blown apart, and the woman is gunned down, and everyone in there, and now you're too late. You weren't there fast enough to save it because it's scripted. And you get there, and you check the corpses, you check the room, you check the terminals, you learn a little bit more, and you find that the body was shot up a bunch of times, but tiny little incisions, kind of like a bunch of bug bites or needles. Right. So the crime scene's a little weird, and at this point you are able to get the next science weapon, which is arguably the best fucking weapon in this entire game. Holy shit, the unknown manufacturer, or the Rizzo's Gatling Spectrum laser, is fucking amazing. It is similar to the prismatic science hammer that you get near the beginning of the game. Every swing of the hammer will switch its element to a new type, and then you can just keep doing elements based on, you know, the swing you do. Rizzo's saw that, and they said, ooh, let's put that in a gun. And now every single bullet from this thing shoots a new element, and it spins up so fast, and it has a magazine of 100, and it's got a decent critical chance, and this gun is just a delete laser. I love this gun, but it is imbalanced as shit. This is your kind of couldn't find a single thing in the game that could like withstand more than a second of sustained fire on this thing.
Well, and it's like you said, because the bullets switch every other round. It's either purple, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. Like it, you see the damage numbers just coming off of an enemy.
And it's just
With
rainbow numbers, yeah.
multiple. Yeah, and this is
You're doing even more
yeah, it's
damage
one of
too
the
because you're
best.
hitting them with N-ray, and N-ray damage does less base damage, but it increases all other damage dealt to that target. So if you get one N-ray proc off of that, every other round coming out of that thing other than N-ray damage is now increased. So it also feeds
Right.
itself.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the OP guns of the game. It's like there's no doubt that it will mow down anything from automechanical to primals to other marauders. But it is also one of the most pain in the butt guns to get, or it was for me. Because like I mentioned, there's only so many certain vodkas, and you need all 8.
All 8. Yeah, you need all 8 of the Spectrum's Rizzo vodka, because whoever was putting that in the containment cell it's in decided to lock it up with some proprietary lock that requires you to pour all 8 vodkas into it, and somehow it can tell them. Maybe it just reads the UPCs on the bottle. I don't know.
Yeah, chemical compound. I'm not sure either. But yeah, if you accidentally get rid of any of the harder ones to get, you can find most of all of them in this planet in this arena.
Yeah, it's meant for you to be able to get here. Like, once you get the quest, like, it marks most of them for you, so it's pretty easy to find. But if you are already exploring and fucking around and selling stuff, you may have accidentally grabbed one and be like, I don't drink alcohol, sell this.
And that's exactly what I was doing in that run. I was not drinking alcohol. I was selling those. And I was also started selling Adrena Time, too. You can get a lot of money.
Yeah, and you get so much Adrena Time. They drop like 2 or 4 at a time. It's great.
Yeah, and but again, like there's crash or come down from a lot of those. Even when I was smoking cigarettes all the time.
Now the cigarette one isn't that bad. Like I think the cigarettes are the best. I think the cigarettes are the best drug in the game to be addicted to. Like, you can be anything that's like classified as a medicine is classified as a drug in the game. So if you're drug addicted, you can take anything and be fine. But I think cigarettes are like the best one that have a drawback, because the perk of cigarettes gives you increased accuracy with range weapons and less sway with your things. They just make you a lot calmer whenever you smoke it.
Yep.
And then when you're on your low, all it does is make those stats slightly worse. It doesn't hit your actual stats. It's just your gun stats. So I feel like if you're a melee build, doesn't affect you at all, or B, you just carry 2 types of weapons. You smoke your cigarettes and then you go long gun, and then as soon as you hit the low on it, you just switch to your machine guns and just blast them with that, or your tech weapons, or whatever you decide to bring with you. I feel like cigarettes are... This is only for the game. I feel like cigarettes are great.
Yeah, no, they really do help out. There's a couple of perks you'll line up with it. Same with the science weapons. That's what really helps the Gatling, Spectrum Gatling, be a great weapon.
Especially if you're 150, because at 150, it makes it so your critical chance and damage, as well as I think like the handling of your gun is affected based on your science skill. So plus the perk of the spectrum laser is the more you get more different damage types based on your science skill. So if you're a science virtuoso, you just walk out with this thing. It's not only putting out all elements in the game, it's also critting for no reason.
Yeah, and you buff it more if you got Vic in your party. He adds 20% damage. If you get the 2 perks, you add another 100%. There's 50% and 50%.
Right.
And there's another perk that adds 25 to the magazine size. 25%.
Yeah, and that's only good on some of the guns, but it's really good on that one.
Right. Because originally it's a 75 bullet clip, and then you get that perk. It's 100 bullets, like you said, and you reload it quickly. There's no...
Especially if you use your TTD. Like, if you have the full TTD timer, you empty the whole clip, and then activate your TTD and hit the reload. You have like a like a 1 second reload. You just like throw the clip into it. It's like a battery too, so it's one of the faster reloads. You just take the battery out and slam a new one, and your thing's ready. And what I really like about it is if you're in tactical time with this laser, you aim down, it spins up instantly because of the time dilation. The second you aim down, it's already spun up, so you just go and then you're out of time because you shoot so many bullets. But the first couple bullets are dead accurate because the TTD is so good.
And that was something I did not use as much as I should have. My first playthrough was the TTD. Now I kind of sort of spec towards it a little more.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to build towards. I love it. It's so good. It can get you into situations and it can get you out of situations. If you have the full bars, there's a perk in the perk tree that allows you to move at full speed for the first 5 seconds if your bar is full. So what I imagine enemies see is you just like for a couple of seconds just move like the Flash. You just like have an after image. You just go really quickly. And too many enemies are nearby. You just pop that and then just run to cover.
Yep.
Let your thing go back and then you just shoot them from cover. Yeah, it's such a simple mechanic just to have it on hand time slow like bullet time, but it works so well in this game. It really does.
Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome. You're not like trapped in it. Even if you buff yourself out to get the maximum amount of TTD that you can get, it's 30 seconds max, really, or maybe 40.
If you're not shooting.
Again, your action, right, and your actions, like that's it. There was an armor I found. It's a light armor that it takes 25% off a handgun. So I can shoot handguns 3 times instead of 2. And believe it or not, that makes a difference. That one
especially if you have
is either life or death for somebody.
Especially if you have the level 20 and higher perks on your handguns and everything like that, you get like body part zone damage things. And like for example, if you shoot somebody in the foot while in TTD, you can cripple them. If you shoot them in the face, you can blind them. You shoot them in the hands, you maim them. So
chest is execute.
Right, being able to use those, being able to use 3 in like body part shots instead of 2 really does make the difference, because you want to cripple them and then blind them so you can open up for the rest of your attacks. That's something you can do, and you can follow up with the third one if you have more time. There's not a lot of things in the game to build towards your TTD to make it like OP, which I really do like. Like it never feels like, oh, I'm just walking around like fucking Max Payne 3 and I'm just in slow-mo constantly blowing everybody's head off like a god.
Yeah, that's exactly why that's why I mean, it didn't overstay its welcome. You get to use it, and it is tactical. You get to use it for a short amount of time. Even if you expand it as much as you can, it's still, there's enough enemies, you're not going to get them all in one shot. And some of them do get iframes, especially on Gorgon or the Primals. The Marauders dodge much better on Gorgon, and the Primals,
they're Adrena timed up.
Frames. Yeah. It's so funny. And that's, again, with the crash, I didn't realize that there was such a terrible crash.
It stacks 3 times too. Adrena time. I started because I was, once I got Adelaide Shears, I was like, oh, I really like these. I'm just going to build towards like, I'm going to like build an off melee build. I'm going to build like jack of all trades, but I'm also going to have this melee that I can just slice the shit out of people with if I decide to. I just lost my train of thought again.
No, you get that perk with 300 extra %, and you take some Adrena time.
That's where it was. Yeah, because I started doing Adrena time, because like, oh, it gives you melee attack damage and move speed. Sweet. Right. I'm just gonna constantly just huff Adrena time, and then I would try to do any skill checks, like any skill checks, and it'd be like, you have -30 on this. I'm like,
Yeah, that's exactly right. You get like such a debuff, and you're like so mad. That's the robophobia was killing me because of that. I would walk into a room and I would immediately be down 6 or 8 points on everything because there's a
and there's no way to clear flaws. They're permanent.
Right. And you think you're doing all right because like it's a trade up. You get a nice perk for a flaw, but that isn't always the case.
yeah, at near like the middle of my playthrough, I took a perk, Paranoid, because I personally was, and my character definitely would be, with the amount of shit I was doing. That was just like, if anyone like took two looks at me and was like, "You need to be killed. You're a problem." I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry." So I was doing whatever I could to just get out of situations.
You were definitely being a little rough on your crew too. That was.
What do you mean, smacking him around? Especially Felix. Fuck, man. Okay, whenever I was briefly doing things for Akande, Felix is so fucking butthurt. He's like, "What the fuck do you want?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even want to talk to you. You love the board. You're gonna suck the board's dick, aren't you?" I'm like, okay.
That's
Maybe you
one
should
of
watch
his
some more
perks
TV.
is-
Maybe you should watch some more TV. Have you ever never seen like a double agent, or like you never seen like anybody do like a double cross or anything like that? Like you've never seen anyone like a secret agent, a spy? Like you don't think for 1 second that maybe I have an
Especially-
alternative moment, ulterior motive?
Especially
The
him.
entire game, yeah, especially him. You'd think you would know that. Like whatever. It really ticked me off because I get that you're mad at the board, but don't be mad at me because I'm mildly associated with her. I skipped the ship away from her. I didn't execute Edgewater. I didn't do this other quest. What more do you want from me? I talked to her and agreed with her on a couple of points, and suddenly you don't fucking like me? So that's why anytime you saw me playing with Felix, I smack him. Fuck you, Felix.
Well, and at the end,
And he's also the only
if
one
you
of my
wanna
crew that
work
tried to
with-
betray me.
Oh, really?
I mean, not really, but like the dude. Okay, so his personal quest, he gets a message
Oh,
from
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
in his
yeah.
past,
That's
and
right.
and the guy from his past
He-
kind of wants to recruit Felix, and Felix is kind of like, I mean,
Maybe.
I'm like, dude,
Dude
fuck you.
ghosted you.
Th-
Yeah, right, right.
This man said fuck you, and now you're about to say fuck me. I got you off the groundbreaker, and I've run through all of this stuff. I'm paying your way. I'm keeping you safe. Yeah, I'm hitting you with my pistol occasionally, but you know, it's the price of the job, I guess.
You got him out of jail. Right, no, you got him out of jail. You kept him out of jail.
And then he wants to turn coat, and he wants to go be on this guy's crew, and I'm just like, man, Felix, if you're a real guy, I'd definitely kick you in the nuts for that. You suck.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily not be your friend anymore, but you really fucking suck for that.
I forget which I always get these two confused. I think it's Chairman Rockwell. He's the ambassador, like the Earth representative that's there. He's like the
that's
second-
Clark.
He's like under Clark. Okay. Because like at the end, you get to when you're in that one room, you can also choose to work with him, and he's like, if you work with this guy, I'm out of here.
Oh,
And I'm like,
okay. At the very end, it's Rockwell.
Yeah.
Clark
It's-
Clark
oh,
is
it
the
Rockwell?
ambassador, the one that's on home arrest.
Oh, yeah.
He's the sort of
okay,
second in
and-
command.
And Rockwell's the one kind of doing shit behind his back, right? Like,
Right, yeah. Rockwell's
the
the one that's
chemicals and
actually in
all
command, and he's the one that's doing all this stupid stuff. Clark was figuring it out, so he put him on home arrest and kind of unofficially stripped him of his position, but he's still there. So, yeah, it's dumb. He started figuring out what was going on, and the guy said, nope.
yeah, no, and it's the worst house arrest you could imagine. Imagine having 5 police officers in your house all the time. I couldn't handle it.
And
There's no way.
the worst part is he's got a big house, and he's like locked into one of his rooms.
One room, yeah.
He's got a 2-story
But yeah,
mansion,
no-
and he's got armed guards outside. Don't come out here.
That one dude with the scythe out front. Fuck him, man.
Oh yeah, his head's on a swivel.
No, I'm losing train of thought. We were talking about Felix and all this.
Oh yeah. The characters they'll have a lot of depth to them, and I feel like they're really like expanded on in this DLC. I didn't notice it so much in Peril on Gorgon, but at least in this DLC, your companions I felt like said more things to the people. Like when you're in the bar with Birdie and you're talking to him, and the 2 people I had with me were Max and Nyoka, and both of them were helping me lean on him and get information out of him. That I maybe wouldn't have got if they weren't there. You probably can because it's just preset dialogue. Press. Okay, I got the button I needed. But it was really nice to hear to Max speak up, and then I had an option to be like, Max, lean on this guy. And then Max said some more things to him that made him like question himself. And then near the end of the dialogue, Nyoka, the guy was saying he's not feeling too well, and Nyoka like recommended a drink for him because of his breakup or whatever, and how to keep it down because he's like, oh, I'm not too good with alcohol. He's like, oh, you do this, do this, this. And I was like, if Nyoka wasn't there, I don't know which character would have spoken up, but they wouldn't have been able to give him advice about drinking because Nyoka's the drinker.
Right. That's her character. Yeah, that's great. I had Vic, and yeah, he'll lean in. And I had Felix, who's a toss ball, you know, he's all moon-eyed over Birdie. He's like,
right, because he's a superstar.
Right. Can you sign my song? You know, I got a toss ball I need you to sign. Like, he's doing that kind of thing. They all do have their quirks and personalities. It's so great. That's like when I was wearing that outfit in the one mission. It's nice to see other environmental interactions other than just from your character, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like how much they spoke up in this DLC. It's really good.
Right, and like you were mentioning, Felix does like to speak up against the board or anybody, even corporate related. It's like, what are you doing? Ugh.
He hates authority, yeah.
Yeah. Except for you. You're the only guy he likes. He keeps him... That's why I hired him. He's like, I guess I don't suffer stupidity well. And it's like, me neither. Hired.
And as you were mentioning, at the very end of the game, if you decide to work with Rockwell, if you don't want to lose Felix immediately, not that it matters, it's the end of the game, but if you don't want to lose Felix immediately, you have to have like 150 determination or leadership. You have to be like a virtuoso and a skill to be like, sit your ass down.
Get back in the... Yeah, and that's exactly it. There's a couple of times that your determination can do that to your companions, and it's like, use determination. Parvati was one of the first ones. You can just kill the dude right in front of her, and she's like, she'll help you, and then go like, why'd you do that? And you can say,
you don't know me.
Down. You right. Well, or you work for me now, so get over there.
Right, that's how we do things in this crew.
Really neat.
Yep. Yeah, I do really like that. You can avoid those like instant loss situations by having enough of a stat, which I think is really cool. Like the I don't know what style of writing to call it, but it's I'll just call it like fail-safe writing in this game is so good. Like if you make a mistake or if you do something stupid or if you do something that maybe you shouldn't have, the game writers are like, okay, loot the key off of his corpse, and then you can go into the locked door that he was supposed to open for you. And once you're in there, you can grab the key card to hack the terminal that you were going to go there for anyway. So even though guy's dead, you're going to be able to get the information off of that terminal and turn it into somebody. I really love that. Yeah, contingencies,
Yeah.
There's fail-safes. I would love to do the murder on Eridanos again and run through and just... Because it's the first time in my whole playthrough this time that I didn't just go guns blazing and kill people that looked at me right. After killing the one girl in the elevator, I was like, it's fine.
I'll be nice.
I'll be nice. I'm here to do a job. I'll be professional. I should have killed the Prophet. I probably should have killed Sedgwig and let the administrator take over. You know, there's probably things I could have done, and I would like to see what things are put in place if you do that. Like, I want to kill Helen the second I get to. Like, I want to see what these different endings can do. Speaking of which, at the very, very end, you're about to leave. You did all your wrap up. You're saying goodbye. I talked to Helen, and then I hid right behind her, and I killed her and turned her corpse into a bunch of ashes. Nobody noticed. Nobody in the entire area turned red. Nobody noticed. So I just walked out, and at the end of the game, when the credits rolled, they don't even know she's dead. The media,
right, no kidding.
No, literally, like the graphics that says
like
what happened to. Yeah, but it didn't say anything about Helen, but it did say, oh, and Birdie and Helen got back together, and they went on to live for a little bit longer, or whatever, rekindle the relationship. And I was like, no, she's a pile of ash.
She's gone.
So as I just alluded to, Halcyon Helen isn't dead.
No, she's not dead. Can we take a quick break?
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally for the... Can you hit the bumper? And because I'm going to go use the restroom. please.
Yeah, absolutely. Be right back, everyone.
Please. Sorry about that.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. I appreciate it. I will cut that out of the little edit thingy in the live, so you probably won't even notice that we were gone if you didn't catch this live.
Excellent.
And
Thank you.
back
I'm
in.
So sorry about that.
And believe it or not, somehow she isn't dead. I kind of revealed that a little earlier than I was supposed to in this like little kind of thing we're doing, but who cares? The person that broke in and ended up killing so many people in the story that we found dead so far. We found the constable who was dead. We found the lab person who was dead. And I feel like there was one more person who was dead. And all of these people have been killed by Halcyon Helen. And it was actually after Halcyon Helen was murdered. So, we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Halcyon Helen is a set of twins. She is
Yes,
Ruth Bellamy and Belinda Bellamy.
that's right. It was a plot twist. And I started to mention it before. That's because it was coming. We had to talk about it. There's little sprinkle clues throughout the whole thing that there's two people, or she's working with somebody else, and you just don't know who it is. And I'll be honest, I didn't think that I should have known it was twins because of every sitcom and every movie and every plot twist ever, but I didn't see it coming this time. I did not see it.
Me either.
And when they said it was a
I thought maybe like I didn't see it coming at all. And even like looking back on it, any hints that I may have saw that I didn't realize, but looking back at it now, I thought maybe clone. Like maybe she was cloned by the RZA because she's like this famous person or whatever. Maybe there's like a clone of her or something like that. The twin thing is simple twist, but also it was really, really, really well done. You find out that she's not dead, and this jackass, who we still don't know, we still know who did it, but this jackass killed my sister because they thought that was me. It's like the best kept secret in the entire system that there's 2 of me, and one of you killed one of me, and I'm pissed about it.
It would be like if you found out there was a second Michael Jordan or something. Like just somebody so
Right.
popular and they have a twin fucking brother. And it like you said, it's a very simple, classic plot twist. And it escaped me this time because it's a science fiction setting. So yeah, clone, or you were playing without it this time, but there's an ID, there's a shroud. And you can put an ID.
Oh, right. You
ID
didn't even
card
think about
in.
that. Maybe somebody had a hollow shroud. Yeah. Maybe somebody's pretending to be her.
Right. That's where I was going. Was somebody was impersonating, especially after you showed me your character build right next to the Halcyon Helen model. You guys look very similar.
Yeah, that was unintentional.
So,
but I got the clothes and I got the gun, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm hurt.
Yeah, right. It's a pretty, I don't want to say generic build, but it's like very forward facing for a product. Big tall blonde girl,
Yeah.
And La Femme Nikita kind of show attached where she's a special agent, like you said, detective kind of.
I would watch the show.
Bounty hunting. That's so fun. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly. I love shows like that.
Yeah, I'd watch it. It seems like it'd be a good show. It seems, based on the promotional materials and stuff that you find throughout the system, that it seems like it's a little bit campy too. That it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's kind of like a '90s show where it's serious, but it's also goofy.
Right. Baywatch Nights. That's
I've never seen it, but maybe. Yeah.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. If you've seen Baywatch, you know what that is. Now, imagine if you were a police officer at night in Baywatch. Same thing. And it was David Hasselhoff. He was a cop. But what was I gonna say? Now I'm losing my train of thought. There was like the character. Oh, that's it. The name of the mission is Murder on Eridanos, and it's that, like I mentioned before. A lot of the titles are relative to a book or something, and it's the Murder on the Orient Express, which is Agatha Christie
yeah, okay.
murder mystery. So, like, to have these type of plot twists in it is very spot on for the type of story they're telling here.
And honestly, I love it. Like, I really love that this is like an RPG shooter, and they decided to do a murder mystery in it, where you could decide to just blow everyone away and do whatever you want, or you could just boots on the ground detective. I'm gonna walk around with my fucking techno magnifying glass and find clues and figure out what's going on and piece it together. I would really love to see this theme done in other games. Like, I feel like Cyberpunk could do a really cool murder mystery. Like, okay, I think I'm back.
Yep.
Nope. My network is freaking out right now. I don't know what's going on with it. I think we're good now. Nope. Fuck.
Still recording. I see you there.
Okay, are we good? Alright, let me just look at my thing. It was switching between... Nope, it's not. It's not okay.
And then... Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Speaking of Spike, I can hear you. Keep talking though.
I was wondering if you can hear me
Okay.
now. I have no idea what's going on, and my network is like freaking out. It's going between having a connection and having no connection. It's not like a computer issue. I just unplugged my cord and plugged it back in. It seems like it's stabilized. I don't know what the hell that was about.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if you pick back up, I wonder what that was about, weirdo.
Where did I cut out?
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, I think we're back. We're looking okay.
Okay.
Little bit.
So
Our bonus episode too.
All right, just give it one more second. If it goes again, yeah, we'll just cut it. I feel like the reason the twin twist is done well and it's hidden from you is because, as we mentioned, there is so much other plot going on, and there's so much to distract you, and like red herrings, like the Rizzo's Brown plot is huge, and it's a big part of why you're there and why everything's going on, but it really doesn't matter to who killed her. It's a big reason of why, but you can skip that whole thing and still kind of figure out who killed her, even though it's kind of difficult. At least for me, I got to the point where I was supposed to accuse, and I had to recheck all my facts. I had to go back over everything, and then still I really didn't know. At this point, did you know who killed her?
I knew it wasn't the three they were trying to get me to look at it. I knew it wasn't Black Hole Birdie. I knew it wasn't the Prophet, and I knew it wasn't
her co-star.
That's it. Thank you. I was gonna say co-host, co-star, because they all had motives, but not. And again, I'm blanking completely on how she ends up dead completely. I think it was just like from the needler. Like I said, I think she got shot by a real gun.
Maybe we should wrap it up here and do a second part of this, because we should both do another playthrough of it.
Yeah, probably might be a good idea.
Because we should both do another playthrough of it, get some more facts in, and do a different playstyle for the DLC itself.
Sounds good. Because that's where I'm at right now, is getting ready to start a second run through that DLC. I'm going to finish up Gorgon in like a couple of hours.
Hope the people go and try out the game, get it while it's on sale, and you definitely won't regret it. Even if you don't finish it, the first couple of planets are real fun.
I agree. It's worth at least one playthrough.
All right, and with that, we'll see you next time.